And now, it's that time of the week once again. Welcome to the Departure Lounge podcast with your hosts, Tom Whittle and Steve Wooldridge. Your ticket to the home of aviation podcasts. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Hello, friendos. Good evening, everybody. I wanted to try something a little bit different then. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Departure Lounge podcast here on the Departure Lounge YouTube channel. And, of course, on Visions Aviation on Facebook and YouTube. Hope you are well. Episode 61 tonight should be a very interesting show indeed. But before we do, my name is Tom Whittle. And joining me this evening is, of course, our co-host and man who fronts my T-shirt. It is, of course, Steve Wooldridge. Steve, a very good evening to you. How are you?
Yep, good evening, everyone at home watching. Good evening, Tom. I've never seen you looking as good looking in all your life. What a T-shirt that is, eh?
Cracking, right?
Yeah, beautiful. You should have said, because we've actually shown up wearing the same thing tonight, which is a bit embarrassing for us.
That's embarrassing. Never mind. Never mind. How's your weekend been so far?
Yeah, decent. Did a little bit of spotting yesterday. Today was just nice and chilled, watch a bit of football and that. What about yourself?
Yeah, a bit of a messy weekend in terms of drinking, which I won't go into because I'll get demonetized otherwise. But no, other than that, it's been pretty good indeed. But we'll bring you back shortly.
Awesome. See you in a bit.
Also joining us this evening is the resident contributor to the show, Ian Hartley. Ian, good evening to you. Are you well?
I'm very well, thanks, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well. Still recovering from a messy weekend, but all good otherwise.
Eurovision party last night.
You could call it that. Yeah, you could call it that.
Yeah, fantastic results second.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, it was really, really good. Actually, it's quite different to see us not finish bottom.
But absolutely.
That's for another story.
Yeah, that's another.
How's your weekend been so far?
Absolutely fantastic. We've had really, really nice weather. I fished a fishing competition today, but I had to bail out early and come on. But apart from that, I really enjoyed my weekend. I went to a party yesterday as well, in a garden party, so that was nice in Blackpool. Sunny Blackpool.
Lovely.
So that was good.
Wonderful. Right, I shall bring you back shortly.
Thank you.
And so the reason why we are here, joining us this evening, we are very proud to welcome both Martin and Andy from Airliners Live. Guys, good evening, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. We'll go, otherwise people will start talking over themselves. Martin, are you well?
Yes, very well, thanks, mate. Appreciate you getting us on, Tom. Hope you're doing well as well.
Andy, are you well?
Very good, yes. We've done a live show today. We've been home for a couple of hours and ready to go again. Another live show for today. Yeah,
at least you can participate rather than actually host it this time. So.
you can see our faces this time.
It's quite nice to just sit back and let someone else run the show, I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Brilliant, fantastic. Obviously, like I said, you streamed this morning. How did that go this morning?
Very well. It was due to be quite wet today, actually, so it was a bit of a bonus that it stayed dry. Great viewer participation as always, and great variation of traffic as well. So yeah, all in all, great Sunday show again.
Fantastic, wonderful. Right, let's bring everybody back so everyone can say hello to one another.
Right, guys.
Hello.
Good evening. How are we doing? Okay.
All good, mate. Great to see you.
All good.
And evening, Ian. Hope you're all right, mate.
Yeah, I'm all right, Steve. Sorry, mate. How are you?
Yeah, still there.
Good stuff. Right, let's quickly jump into a little bit of housekeeping just before we go into the main show itself. So we're on different social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch, which, do whatever you like with that. But you can follow us on the main ones, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, by looking at the description below. Also, as me and Steve have pointed out, we are obviously wearing the same thing, but you can buy the t-shirt from the store, which is also in the description below. You can also find other t-shirts very quickly. There we go. There's one. And if you wanted to, just very quickly, because I know time is precious. There you go. If you wanted to buy some t-shirts, head to the store. Link is in the description below. Also, if you wish to be a guest on the show, just like Martin and Andy, give us a message on social media and we'll get you on as soon as we can. Also, you can get your super chats in, which we do have one already, which I have just seen. I wonder if it's still there. Yes, it is. Vision Thing was talking in the chat off air saying, are the guys getting the makeup sorted? So he's given us a super chat
What do you reckon?
helping for the makeup.
Looking fresh.
A little bit of powder, there you go. So yes, you can get your super chats in and we'll get those read out pretty much straight away. And if you have any questions for the guys, do get them into us and we'll ask them pretty much anything to an extent as the evening goes on. So let's jump into the whole reason why we're here, which is to talk to these guys. So obviously, Martin, you've sort of one of the sort of founding members of Airliners Live. How did the idea of Airliners Live basically come to you?
So basically, I was going down the airport a lot for photography, and that was kind of my thing that I enjoyed doing when I was going down there. I had a mate of mine who I met actually through a virtual airline. So we used to fly on FSX back in the day.
Okay.
And worked out he lived quite close to me. So we decided to go down to the airport a few times together. And I was there taking me pictures, but he didn't really have much sort of interest in photography at that point, and just kind of came along. And we were saying, like, what can we do that we can both get involved with? And the idea of a live stream came about. We'd both been kind of hanging around on Twitch, spending a lot of time in the Twitch community, and we just thought we'd give it a go, really. And that was that. It was beginning 5 years ago, I think we did the first show roughly, and that's pretty much how it came about.
Yeah, wonderful. Hang on a sec. There we go. Wonderful. Andy, how did you get involved with Airliners Live?
So me and Martin were friends for a good few years before I was like formally involved, I guess you call it. We had done a few like bits and pieces together, filming together mostly. We actually worked together. Obviously, our full-time jobs used to be in the same office in our previous jobs. And we also used to work on events, used to make promotional videos for events and promos, sports events and things like that. That's kind of our background in like is videography, and then our professional background in terms of like our day jobs was like audio visual as well. So all of it like slightly rotates around live streaming, and we're massively into live streaming as well in terms of the Twitch community, live aviation community. We're like always in other people's chats and lurking, and it's been something we've been passionate about for years and years. Me and Martin worked in the same place. In fact, at the time, Martin was one of the managers there. And Martin was one of the guys who interviewed me. So there was like the Martin and the managing director at the time interviewed me. And I remember the drive back because I had to get the train back after. And Martin decided to give me a lift back to the train station because it was a long walk. And the whole drive there, we were just like, "Wow, you're into this? Well, I'm into that as well, and you're into this. You know, you're into." I play FSX as well. You know, at Sim at the time. I think at the time we were playing a game called Armour as well. We were getting on about that, and we were just like, we need to like hook up at some point. Ended up I got the job. I was there for a few years. Martin had been there for many years prior and a few years after as well.
Too many years.
Too many years, yeah. And then one thing led to another. I was very busy, like in the early days of Airliners Live. I had my own business. I was always busy on weekends, and I lived in a different city, and it was just like a lot of chaos. So I was just a mod from the very start, and I tried to like get as involved as possible, just like basically just trying to always give improvements, always help behind the scenes here and there. And it wasn't until the end of 2019 where Martin, obviously the channel had basically hit like it was like a threshold, like an upper plateau it could hit of growth, and it just wasn't increasing anymore. So obviously Martin needed to switch it up, and he said, "Do you want to at the time I was not as busy. I could like help out a bit more, so I jumped on as a team member, and from there I was able to like help completely switch it up and really change the game around really. And yeah, that's kind of how we met and how we got started together.
Oh, fantastic. When you sort of look back to when you first started, like obviously your equipment wasn't what it is today and that, but were they kind of strangely a sort of golden era, as it were, when you were first starting out with
Yeah,
it?
because I'm really kind of gutted a little bit that a lot of our really early content isn't there anymore. Because we used to stream on Twitch TV was our only platform back in the very early days, and they only save your VODs for a certain amount of time. Sorry, the videos on demand for a certain amount of time, and we've kind of lost a lot of that content, and the only stuff we've got is kind of like highlights or clips here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got some really good memories from back in the day. There is one clip that kind of stands out where I think we hit 50 viewers for the first time, and me and Charlie were super excited about that. And
Yeah.
we got that, and also some sunset shows, which were amazing. But it was really sort of raw back then. It was dropping out all the time, and we used to have this little battery bank that we had with us. Well, I say little, it weighed a ton, and we used to carry it around. And
Yeah.
you plug a laptop into it, and it would last maybe 2.5 hours maximum. But for the last 10 minutes, it would beep.
Yeah.
So you'd hear it beeping, and everyone in the chat knew that, right, well, they're going to be finishing soon. and eventually it would just go off. And you wouldn't know. And there was one stream where we were trying to get a Oman Air in, and it was the fine. We were like, please don't go. It was just beeping. And the thing touched down, rolled out, Bosch stream went.
Oh,
But we just managed to catch it landing though. So it was great. And yeah, we got a lot of memories like that. Like I used to we used to be walking up Southside with a tent in one end that we put all the equipment in, laptop, camera, battery bank, just all sorts of lots of gear, a lot more than we carry around today with us.
Yeah. You said earlier on you've been going for 5 years or so. Obviously, what's gone on in recent years must have sort of curtailed it. I think there was a question in the chat just now. Were you concerned it was going to put you back to square one a little bit at that point?
Yeah, so there was actually a point in the channel's history where we stopped live streaming completely. And it was right where Andy came involved. That's kind of why I reached out to Andy, because there was a couple of different things that were happening. We were hitting, like Andy said, we were on Facebook and we were hitting a top view account. And don't get me wrong, it was about 1,000 viewers. It was a great view account. But no matter what we tried, no matter what we did, it just wasn't growing. And we felt like it should have been growing because we knew the audience was there. And I must admit, I did a lot of the behind the scenes stuff with the channel for the first few years. And I kind of got to the point where I, in myself, just didn't know what to do anymore to fix it. And then we were just every week facing technical difficulties. We were having dropouts on the stream. They seemed to be getting worse. Signal in the area was really bad, and we were losing a lot of streams from it. There were big streams where the signal would just drop off completely, and everyone would just go out of the chat room. So yeah, I took a step back and went, is this what we want to keep doing? We're not growing anymore. The streams aren't doing very well at the moment. And I knew, because of me and Andy's work together, as Andy said, we used to do promotional videos for clients for events. That was the work we did together in the beginning, and we knew we could make high quality, good video content. And we thought, well, maybe the direction for the channel is to go completely pre-recorded, vlog style. And we did a really successful one called Project N, which was a nighttime shoot. Probably our best shoot we've ever done, I would say, still to date, was Project N. And everyone loved it, but there were so many people kind of saying, please give us the live streams back, and I think it was Ken actually from Visions who we'd sold our old encoder to him when we moved over to Teradek for the first time, and Ken wasn't using it, and we'd sold the Teradek because it was faulty and they weren't fixing it. Bloody bar story of our life. Visions reached out to us and said, look, guys, if you want to go back to live streaming, I'll send you this encoder back for free. I just want to see you guys live. I said, look, mate, you don't have to do that. Let me buy it back off you for what you bought it of me. And he didn't want it. He just wanted to get us back live. So big fair play to Ken for that. That kind of, I put that to Andy and we said, look, let's give it one more go and see how we get on. And we ran that encoder for maybe another five months or so after we went back streaming. And then we had a stream at East Midlands, I think, where we had some dropouts, and on the way home, me and Andy just said, we were driving back from East Midlands in the car, and we said, look, either we personally finance this new Terradeck unit, which we knew we needed, which was about $2,500 at the time, so it wasn't a small investment, and the channel didn't have that sort of money either. We just said, look, we either personally finance this ourselves, or we just jack it in completely. And yeah, we ordered it, and ever since then, we've been live streaming twice a week ever since.
Yeah. Do you think the pandemic, when it had a massive impact on what you could do, do you sort of think it sort of, I don't know whether this is the right or the wrong way to say it, but sort of came at a time where you could sort of sit back and evaluate what you were actually doing, and then sort of move forward?
Personally, for me, I don't know about Andy, but I felt it came at a terrible time for the channel. We just reinvested in the equipment. We just committed to the live shows, and then COVID hit, and we couldn't do anything. And we were very conscious on the channel to be seen to be following the rules and trying our best to do what we should be doing. And it affected the channel massively in some ways, but I think in other ways it brought the community together as well, because we started doing quizzes, weekly quizzes for the community, and it really kept the community engaged with each other. It's great because I think if we didn't stream, the community kind of may have just fizzled out, or we would have lost a lot of viewers. But every single week we did a quiz, and I think that got us through COVID, and it got a lot of other people through a lot of mental health struggles.
Absolutely,
We've had a lot of very positive messages about that.
And what about? Sorry, Andy. I was just going to add to it, and I was just going to say, don't you think that diversifying into doing things like quizzes as well? I mean, I know you're doing 2 streams a week, and that's your full-time sort of job. But like diversifying into like doing quizzes and doing other little bits and pieces what aren't necessarily live stream related could potentially add to your viewership sort of thing and make you a lot bigger than what you actually are now.
I don't think the quizzes added anything to the channel in terms of a growth point of view, I'll be honest, but I think we definitely kept the community together, and I think that's the most important thing that they did. We just and it also gave people something to look forward to every week as well.
Absolutely, I mean that's all we had, didn't we, during COVID?
We couldn't go out spotting. I think we were doing some competitions where we did like over the top photography competitions, encouraging people to take pictures of what was flying over them. But obviously that wasn't very much either, right? We caught an Antonov actually once. That was the highlight of that. But,
I tell you now, you're getting so much love in the chat for these quizzes you ran. Even now, they're obviously extremely popular and people appreciated them.
I'm chucking them up on the screen at the moment. People are loving the fact that they enjoyed obviously the quizzes and that, and kind of want to bring them back. Is it something that you would sort of consider?
No.
Or do you think it's behaviour like
No. Mrs. Airliners live in the chat, who's my partner, will tell you that I'm not a kind of quiz board game type of guy. But obviously a lot of people may not know, we actually wrote every single one of those questions ourselves. We didn't Google like quiz questions. We just came up with things in our head, Googled it and chucked it in. So it was a huge amount of work, and a big shout out because we had all our moderators on it as well, and they were helping out a lot. So,
you certainly put the effort in, didn't you? Definitely.
Oh yeah, 100%. We had, I mean, as with anything on Airliners Live, we either went big or went home, and
I think you have to, haven't you?
Yeah, we did we had a really cool little system actually that we use, and following on from that, a few other channels started using the same system as well because it was so good. Like viewers could tune in and answer it on the phones, and you could bring everyone onto a leaderboard and everything. It was awesome. Yeah, really.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That.
Sort of now we're sort of beginning to come out the back of it. How's Manchester recovered now? Is it almost back to its sort of pre-pandemic levels?
Go on, Andy.
It's about 60 to 70% there, I think, recovery wise. The real difference you notice is overnight because there's literally nothing at the moment. Um,
Mm.
and there is still a lot of periods where there'll be a lot of quiet. But I don't think it's, well, obviously COVID is partly responsible for this, but also we have a lot of airlines that haven't returned as well. And one big one that we always mention is Flybe, because they used to be like a huge flyer at Manchester Airport. And since they've gone, they used to fill in a lot of gaps in between the movements, like Ryanair, like what EasyJet do. And obviously they're going to return. Is it in June or July? They're going to return to Manchester Airport, flying only 4 times daily, up to 4 times daily. So, it's still a long way to go. I think people are still put off though by traveling. I was actually speaking to my neighbour today, and they said they're not traveling this year because they're still put off by the restrictions. It's like, why? There's so many countries that are so easy to travel to at the moment, and you're still put off. And I think that attitude still applies. As soon as whenever there's going to be like the thought that things could change and thought that countries could go onto like a red list of some sort, then I think going to be confident enough to travel again. Sadly, so Manchester Airport's like obviously mostly leisure, and we don't really have many business airlines here other than connecting hubs. So, and obviously business travel's been hit as well. So we're getting there though. It is getting busier. From the 1st of June, we've got Gulf Air and Air Canada starting again at Manchester.
Oh, fantastic!
And also from the 1st of June, they're extending the hours of runway 2 being used. So the demand is increasing. Yeah, they're extended to 12 hours a day, I think, rather than however many it is now, 5. And then
it's kind of splitting it at the moment.
Yeah, which favours us at the moment because it actually right now between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. runway 2's closed, which is perfect for us because that's like the hours that we stream usually.
That new Flybit, it's a class livery. It would be nice to see that when it comes in as well.
Yeah,
the new livery on it.
I haven't seen it at all yet.
Because they've got Birmingham, I think, as the hub now, right? And
that's right. Yeah.
So they're unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see anywhere near as many as we did pre-pandemic. But to be honest, it's just great to see them back. Because that was probably one of the main airlines that when we lost them, I realised I didn't photograph the aircraft at all, really, because you're always focusing on the heavies. So when Thomas Cook had loads of the 330s and everything like that. But yeah, Flybe, I kind of just took them for granted a bit. So getting them back you'll be seeing a lot of Flybe pictures on the old Instagram. I think.
Yeah, we're certainly disappointed down here because obviously we used to use Exeter and now we've shifted to Birmingham. I think Exeter were somewhat disappointed back of that, but such is life. It makes sense.
Yeah. I think it's just Dash 8s in general, isn't it? To be fair, you just miss that, just how they look and how they sound and things like that. You just don't. There's just nothing compares to them, is there? To be fair,
and especially when there's a bit of a breeze as well, you really see the pilots just working that aircraft down, and it's not like any other aircraft. You're actually flying it down onto the runway, so you're keeping that power in, get it touched down. It's just an awesome,
proper pilots, aren't they?
Love it. Love it. It's a plane I've spent a lot of time in the sim flying, and I'd say it's probably one of my favourite sim aircraft to fly, and just seeing them back at Manchester again will be mega, I think.
Yeah. Which sim do you use, Martin? Is it 2020?
Well, I've been on all of them, to be honest. I was on FSX, then I went to P3D, spent some time on X-Plane, and now Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, the new one's come out. There's a bit of a memory leak with it for me at the moment, so I'm not flying right now. But I do like MSFS, and I've been pretty fortunate. I was invited on the beta team with a certain plane that's coming out very soon. As was John, who's in the chat, and we got some pretty cool opportunities, and it's an awesome sim to fly. Is
that a certain plane what you're keeping like close to yourself, like?
No, I think I can say it's the Phoenix A320 is the beta team we were on. And it's just a pleasure to be involved with that as much as I could, obviously, before I lost.
Is that out now? Is it?
No, not yet. No,
not really.
It should be out soon. But
£50 they're quoting it at, no, 50 quid.
Which, mate, what a price!
That's cheap.
What a price! That
really cheap.
You can't say any more than that, really. And like I say, I can't say too much about it, but I would happily pay double that price for the aircraft. So it's going to be amazing.
Well, we'll do a quick sort of gap in here because I've remembered that we haven't said hello to people watching, which is really bad. But we'll go through that. There's a couple of questions as well that we want to sort of throw your way. But I'll get some names sort of mentioned that I won't bring up comments onto the screen just for now. As Ian disappears, we have got the likes of Amy Doyle, of course, Mrs. Airliners Live, Owen Aero Aviation is there. Okay, and he's going to disappear quickly as well. Right, just us. Oh, I'm going to change that. Just us three for the time being. Lauren Howard is there. Tian Hartley is there. Shabs is there. Samuel Taylor Ackroyd is there. Vision Thing. Plane Spotting, Ringway, etc. There's loads of people. Loopy's there. So if you are watching, good evening to you. Seeing as you're just here, Martin, I'm going to throw the first question to you from Gail Leary. He says, question to both you and Andy, but where do you see the channel in about 5 years' time? Any plans to expand to bigger networks or solely just keep it at Manchester?
Well, we already have expanded. We expanded to Vancouver, Canada a couple of months ago. So we've got a fantastic guy who's joined the team, Henry Tenby, lifelong aviation fan, videographer, runs his own business as well to do with aviation. And he came on board about 2 months ago, and we've been doing a weekly show from Vancouver since then, which is awesome. 5 years, I think Airliners Live probably needs to take on more locations, I would say, is the main focus for us. So yeah, I'd say probably more locations is the long-term plan. I don't think, obviously we continue to cover Manchester as our main location, but ideally a show every day of the week from a different location in the long term. But obviously it comes down to channel growth and funds as always. But
of course.
Yeah, getting the Vancouver show on board was fantastic. Obviously, like Manchester, you get a nice variation, but obviously when you're streaming from a different country, it's a whole new ballpark.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
But
yeah, it's a challenge, and I think the channel was ready for it as well. We kind of got settled in. We'd just gone full time, and we kind of just wanted to expand a bit more. And we didn't feel like doing more Manchester shows was the way to go, really. So, with Vancouver, we knew we wanted to do Vancouver just with the backdrop, the mountains, and the variation in traffic is fantastic. The views are fantastic from Vancouver. It's very similar to Manchester in the way that you can just get unobstructed views of the airfield, which is exactly what we want. And one of the main things that kind of drew us to that was just seeing the content from iTrapper on YouTube, another massive YouTube channel. Their videos and the lighting is just stunning from the airport. And I just said, that's next. That's what we have to do. So I spent some time. I joined a couple of the Vancouver Facebook groups, scrolling through trying to find someone who would just naturally jump out. And we saw this guy who was kind of talking to the phone, and then cutting away to his video work, and his presenting style was excellent. So I reached out to him, and he decided to come on board with us, and he's fantastic. Yeah, we couldn't ask for any better, really.
Yeah, fantastic.
Have you plans of any other, obviously probably English speaking countries because of your audience and things like that? So so I mean USA is pretty much getting saturated now, isn't it? And there's quite a lot of people doing USA. So I don't know, maybe places like Australia or even somewhere like South Africa or something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different places on the table, and with that, I'm not going to say that, but a couple of different themes as well. There's another thing that I've got in mind at the moment. But I think we need to decide, because obviously LA, you've got 2 channels over just doing LA by themselves at the moment. And there's a lot of new channels starting up in the US. Miami Plains is another fantastic, really good stream. So you just gotta find your place in the market, right? And just make sure you're bringing something that's unique. And I think the most important thing with Airliners Live is just making sure the view and everything is as good as it can be.
Absolutely.
And the I don't know, just the variation in traffic, I guess, is another key factor for us. We've got nothing settled in at the moment, but there's a few ideas on the table.
I think you've got to give a premium product, haven't you? I think there's that many people at it now that.
Well, that's what Airliners Live's all about. Obviously, with me and Andy having a huge audio-visual background in our jobs, that's the top thing for us. It has to look good and it has to sound good. There's a huge amount of streamers out there at the moment that get by with the equipment, and we certainly did as well when we first started. Now we're fortunate enough to be able to push the channel to the limits, and that's something where when we took on Vancouver, it was very important to us that we wanted the stream to look and sound the same as what it does now, as what it did in Manchester. And we made sure we did that. So Henry has literally got an identical Manchester setup to what we have.
So you're trying to replicate that quality, aren't you? Definitely.
We have to. We have to,
of course you do.
It's that's kind of what we're known for at the end of the day, and that's the brand. So.
We love Vancouver as well. It's a beautiful airport. It's got such good variety.
Like you say, the backdrops and everything are fantastic.
Something else.
Really, really good.
Yeah, you're getting obviously aircraft you won't see in Manchester as well, so it's a nice sort of variation on what you're seeing over here, which also helps with the interaction.
It up, keeps it mixed up. I mean, C5 Galaxy coming on the other week's stream, that was nuts.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Never seen one of them.
Wonderful. We'll move on from that question. We've got quite a few that have come in, so we'll get them read out. And I promised for this one to be asked, which is from Samuel Taylor Ackroyd. He says, what is the best moment on either a live stream or video?
Best moment?
Moment.
That's a tough one. I would say the first time we seen, you guys probably remember this, was when they retired the Virgin Atlantic. I mean, this probably isn't the best one, but it's one that just jumped to mind because it was so emotional. Was when they retired the Virgin Atlantic 747s. And the first one that went out, I can't remember what the reg was of it. Might have been Ladybird. I can't remember. Or no,
not 100% sure from them.
I can't remember which one it was. There were so many. The first one that went out, and it did a wing wave, and obviously a 747 doing a wing wave is spectacular, and they did them all of them, to be fair. But it really hit you in the feels. It was like really emotional, and you couldn't really talk. You kind of choked you up.
Well, I think what choked you up was there was a big crowd in the RVP, and spontaneously as it took off, everyone just started clapping,
and cheering,
and we were there like, oh god, like we couldn't say it, I was tearing up, he was tearing up on the camera, and everyone's there clapping, and that was
someone chopping onions nearby.
They didn't say they were going to do a ring wave. They never said it. I think, and don't, this necessarily might not be totally true, but I heard that it wasn't necessarily authorized either for the first one. The guys just did that, but I'm not sure how true that is. But seeing them, and we were fortunate on the channel to cover every single one of them was mega. But I'd say for me, I think probably that was the first one that came to me, and just probably our charity shows as well.
Oh yes,
I think are the main thing we're definitely proud of on the channel.
There was the Dakota emergency landing, which was pretty huge as well.
That was pretty definitely unexpected again. But in terms of best moments, I'd say even the first charity live stream, we didn't really expect to raise that much money. And we were doing it for, I believe, the Christie announced the Alzheimer's Society, because I'd recently lost my nan, I think that year. We didn't expect to raise a huge amount, but the community kind of all just pulled together and raised a fantastic amount. And year on year, it just keeps growing. You just can't believe it.
I actually won an Anthony Stocker sketch on that one, Martin. The Anthony Stocker
You've
sketch.
been waiting for this.
Hey, Megan.
I've got it on the wall.
Nice.
Show it.
I love that guy. He does some more. Mrs. Airliners live, actually, because she loves Disney and everything. He did her a WestJet Disney livery with the Mickey Mouse on the back. And where it says WestJet on the side, he wrote Mrs. Airliners live.
Oh wow, did it? Yeah.
So she's got that. Yeah, she love it. Yeah, he's done some awesome works. Yeah,
just going to quickly jump in and go big thank you to Kevin D for the super chat, £50, saying hi Departure Lounge. Airliners Live guys thought they could dodge me, but my bank manager said I had to give a little donation to the channel. So thank you so much for that. That's much appreciated. Anyone else who wants to follow in his suit, whether it's £1 or more, do obviously just get the super chat in and we'll read it out.
Get the big bongs in, guys. You know what to do.
Mega bongs.
Mega bong. I don't have pounds or anything, so we'll just go bong instead. But
nice one, Kevin.
But thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for that. That's really appreciated. We'll go on to let's have a look here. We did have some other questions, but because we've had so much in terms of chatting, let's have a look here. Right. Okay. So Rob Brown Planespotting is asking: is it mainly civil stuff you do, or is military aviation of any interest?
Yeah, it's mainly civil for Airliners Live. I do have an interest in military, but we kind of just leave that to people like Darren, who Aviation Action, who just absolutely smashes the military content.
Oh, yeah, really.
Much better than we could ever do, and his knowledge of it is fantastic. And yeah, we know our strengths and weaknesses, I say, but I think definitely some pre-recorded stuff. Military is on the cards for Airliners Live, but I don't see any military live streams as such anytime soon. I don't think.
I think the problem with military, it's a bit hit and miss, isn't it? They don't run to a schedule as such.
Yeah, there is that as well.
Yeah, you have to really know what you're doing. Like, you have to really know inside what's going on, and if there's anything exciting happening, you can't just really rock up and start a live stream. Sadly, and you know, the closest one to us realistically is RAF Valley, and that's like,
yeah. You know. And I've spent a lot of time down at Valley, and as you guys probably know, you can turn up in the morning and wait 2 hours, and you can't run a live stream like that really. So.
What about airshows? Have you ever tried tapping an airshow up and getting involved with that?
Yes, that's something we're trying to tap into this year, actually. Right. And it's something which we're happy to offer out. And we did have something penciled in, but it fell through, unfortunately. Right. Yeah, that's definitely a plan of attack for.
Yeah, because the setup we have is pretty huge. We have boxes and boxes full of every cable you could ever need, and every type of whatever you need, a camera and tripod and all this.
We got the guys behind the scenes who'll run it properly as well. We probably on air shows we probably do a 4-man setup, a couple of cameras, a director running the show, and someone else floating around. So that's definitely the plan.
We actually
you've got Southport and 2 at Blackpool, haven't you, this year? And they might not be the biggest in the world, but you get decent arrivals and departures from like Blackpool Airport and things like that. And I think if you could tap Blackpool Airport up or something like that, I think
that'd be mega.
I think they'd be quite obliged, to be quite honest.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, I know the guys at Plains TV do a great job.
Absolutely,
and they've kind of got a lot of the major ones locked in. But I mean, if there's any space for us, we'd love to give it a go. And I think we do a good job as well. So
absolutely, Yeah, I was going to ask if Andy, when you used to work together before, and he was talking about promotional things, about his video capabilities, about his camera work when he used to work on the promotions before. It's not a joke.
I mean, Andy's. I'd say what Andy certainly brings to Airliners Live is a lot of the technical knowledge in videography as well. I'd say we've both got a keen eye for videography and photography, but. Andy's technical knowledge has really got us out of some situations in the past.
I was going to say, his video knowledge is absolutely fantastic. His camera work's great, and the knowledge as well about the bits and pieces, just the flight numbers and where it's been and where it's going to and what it is and the history of it and all these little fancy names. What he gives is like the EasyJets, they've got a few names, haven't they?
Nearly named the whole fleet now, I think.
We have.
We're waiting for the time that one of them has it put on the nose of the plane, and we know we've really made it.
Whiskey Charlie, the flying toilet, for example. Or...
Notice that we're at the. I think we're at a 321 or a 330. They were 321. The Aer Lingus what went out today, and then you had an ATR what went straight out afterwards. And the name of the first one that went out was something like, I mean, I don't want to swear or anything like that, but it looked like it just said fecking on it.
Did it?
It's not a bit like Father Ted.
I didn't notice.
Did you not notice it? Yeah, it's the first thing you picked up on. It was written under the window. Yeah, you'd have to have a look at that. And just if somebody can pronounce it correctly, it'd be appreciated.
Yeah, I won't give that one a go, mate.
Now you're into the streaming and that. Do you still sort of go spotting sort of socially like an air show, or if you were to go down to Heathrow, would you still go and sort of socially do it without the
we're
streaming
always thinking
involved.
we're always thinking about content is the problem. Like we can't switch off. Like if we went to Heathrow to just spot, we would just end up filming and we would just end up, because one thing about Airliners Live is where obviously the live streaming is our main core thing. It's like our home. It's what we're known for. It's what we put the most effort into, like producing these shows. But we also have like a lot of alternative ways of growing the channel, and another one of them is pre-recorded content on YouTube, which we've not been doing too much recently, but also on Facebook. The Facebook clips, I don't know if you've noticed, our Facebook page has blown up in the last like 2 years. At the start of 2020, we had 17,000 followers. Now we're pushing 500,000 followers.
Crazy.
So, and that, a lot of that is down to clips, and we're really smashing the clips out. And yeah, once you're on that algorithm, once you're growing on Facebook, it does really well. And it's like today in the chat we had Noel Phillips, you know, the flight vlogger. Also does Indian sleeper trains now, apparently. using toilets that are just holes in the ground.
Yeah, I did see that one the other day, actually.
Did you see that?
You know, and you know he's the same. He obviously branches into loads of different social medias, and he's got like 1.5 million on Facebook now, and it's a huge platform. And that's the thing. Whenever we're like somewhere random, just even if we're at like Barton or something, you know, Manchester City Airport, we'll still be thinking, you know, is this?
It's just opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah,
and it's one of them where if you travel somewhere, it makes sense to just do some content while you're there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think we said it a few times on the channel. Is a lot of the main memories are like looking through the lens, and it definitely would have been nice to have just stood there and just watched the planes for a bit. But to be honest, if we're not streaming, we're usually doing photography or videography anyway. So it's just one of them. I think it would be nice to certainly have a time to just go down there and chill. But yeah, I guess like Vision says, I guess the business kind of takes
after a stream. We'll usually have like a debrief after a stream where we can sit there and chill for 15-20 minutes, you know, before we start packing up. And at the RVP also, we tend to try and time our time of leaving at the RVP with the people, everyone else leaving at once, you know, because everyone will usually leave just before rush hour or just as like heavy goes out. You always have like a queue of traffic going out, so we'll always time our departure with that. And that's usually an opportunity to have some chips, RVP chips, or more recently RVP fish finger butties, which are really nice.
That's a new one.
I like the toasties though, mate. The RVP.
Yeah,
cheese and ham toasties.
The fish finger butty hype. That's
try it. You can't beat a fish finger butty, can you?
No,
it's like the best comfort food ever is the fish finger butty.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I was going to ask you when you were going back to like you're talking about Noel Phillips and things like that. I know, Andy, you do quite a bit of travelling anyway, don't you? Would you not sort of consider? There's a lot of people who obviously do a lot of travelling, do a lot of like flying around and things like that, who sort of document their journey as well, but don't get the opportunity to they haven't got a platform to put it on. Would you not take on consider watching somebody's sort of blog and then releasing it on your channel just to, give that window to somebody else, sort of thing? Is that something you'd think about, I suppose, in future?
We are making flight videos, but the difference is that we're kind of taking it in a different direction. So whereas someone like Noel, who likes to kind of document everything, talks to you about the flight, price per mile, all the fantastic stuff like that. When Andy started to travel with the channel, we decided to kind of take it in a different direction and just try and capture the ambience of the plane and the announcements and just the sounds that you hear, and just kind of have it as more of a fly on the wall kind of thing. So you'll see there's quite a few on our YouTube where Andy's filmed the full flight, and we've literally took everyone along for the full flight. And although we've not said anything during there, it kind of gives you the experience of being on the plane and seeing and hearing really nicely. But in terms of vlogging, it's something we've considered, and it may be something that we start to do bits of here and there. But I can't see us doing full-on trip report style videos. I don't think. I think Airliners Live just in a little bit of a different.
You're going to steer away from doing loo reviews then?
Yeah, it's a full-time job, I think, isn't it?
It is. I think Noel's got that one covered pretty well.
Yeah.
Deary me. We'll move on to sort of another question that we've got from Susie B, who asks, "What's your favourite platform to post on in terms of, I take it, like photos or clips?"
I love Instagram personally. I think it's a really, really good platform that you can connect with people really easy. Obviously, the stories are really powerful as well. I personally hate Twitter because that is like, I don't know what it is about Twitter. I don't know. There's like probably a lot of like psychological reasons for this, but I think it just brings out the negative in people. And although like we don't get much hate on the channel, like it's like, you know, one vocal. You know, there's that experiment when it isn't there. It's like if you met 1,000 people, shook hands with 1,000 people, had a great time, and then one of them slapped you, you would remember the slap. And it's like in Twitter, it feels like that slap happens a lot more often than other platforms. So Twitter definitely a no. And Instagram seems so positive. I don't know what it is about that, what they've done differently. But Twitter,
I think it's kind of like sharing creativity. And on Instagram, it's a lot more focused on the picture that you've posted. And it's kind of people showcasing what they love doing, whereas Twitter just seems to be, I'm going to type what I'm thinking, and people only type what they're thinking when they're annoyed, don't they? So
I think Instagram as well, but there's a massive tolerance of knowing that some people have got a camera that costs 10 grand and some people have got a camera that costs 50, and they're still proud of the photo, and I think people respect it a lot more on Instagram. That's the difference.
The best, they say, in it, the best camera is the one you've got with you, right? At the time, and a lot of people are putting pictures up of their phones and all that sort of thing, and you can get some, like phones these days, you can get some fantastic stuff. We film some of our shorts on mobile phones; they're that good. But yeah, I'd say in terms of the most potential in terms of platform, I'd say would be YouTube at the moment for us. They're putting a lot into live streaming, and they're really focusing in hard on it at the moment.
And with YouTube, it's like
community aspects as well.
It's like consistency is key on YouTube. So like that was when we went into like lockdown, and we were just building up steam again on YouTube. But then obviously we had like the lockdown, the big break, and we find that with YouTube, like I've said earlier on the show that on the stream today, we had 900 people waiting prior to the show starting. It's like if you're just very consistent, whether your quality is like amazing or, you know, pretty good, the consistency will get you there. And it's the same on most platforms, but I think YouTube is probably the most. That's the most critical point is consistency, you know, and that's what we've done. Like we've streamed Sundays, like every Sunday, bar obviously COVID restrictions, every Sunday for like the last like 5 years or something ridiculous, you know. So. You know, that consistency really builds up, and you can see the rewards. You know, it takes a while. You got to actually work and really try, and like I said, consistency builds up the audience. But you get there.
I know. But I was going to say a lot of these airline streaming services really picked up after Storm Eunice, was it? And I think the Sunday after, you had like a record crowd. Did a lot of those sort of hang around afterwards as well?
We had an interesting experience with that compared to like the likes of Big Jet, didn't we? Where it was like
because I think Big Jet saw a huge influx obviously on that stream. They went viral on Twitter. Fair play, like they absolutely smashed it.
Didn't they have like 118,000 viewers at one point or something ridiculous?
Crazy, and I think he might have even like nearly doubled his sub count or something crazy. But it's definitely settled back down again after that. In terms of viewer count numbers, obviously I don't know his other numbers, but viewer count numbers are definitely settled down. But I think what it did do is it kind of opened people up a lot more to the hobby, which is great. And although we didn't, because at Manchester it was quite windy, but we didn't seem to get much of the drama there. And what we kind of took away from that as a positive is it's opened up a lot of eyes to the hobby, and I'd say overall we've seen an increase in viewership since then, basically. So definitely, although it wasn't us who obviously benefited from it directly, I'd say following on from that, we've definitely seen.
I seem to remember the Sunday after you had a real decent turnout
one
from
of
it.
the best shows we've
That was another storm. That it was called Storm Francis. That And I could get the numbers up real quick and see what we got, but it wasn't anything like Jerry's. But for us, it was huge.
But was that the where the 380 went around just before it touched, or was that afterwards? Remember that one?
It might have been. It was around then.
Yeah. It was around, and it may have been the following. Would have been the following one, but that was something which we never thought we'd see. Like with the 380, when we've seen them cancel a few times, and it's always very, very early.
Yeah.
I think then it was just a long landing, and they just decided.
Cracking.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts.
Is that kind of the biggest drama you've caught down there live?
Well, apart from the Dakota, yeah, I'd say so. We did have we had so there was the Dakota, the World War aircraft that was supposed to be doing a flyover somewhere relatively close to the airport. I can't remember the place now. And we were kind of just hoping to see it sort of fly past in the distance, and we're kind of keeping our eye open for it. And people in the chat were, "Oh, it's coming in, it's got an emergency." Like, yeah, all right, whatever. Because you get that, you get a few people winding you up, and it kind of excited to get it a little bit more. And like, hold on, like, so looking on the phone, can't see anything. I go away, put my scanner on, listen to it. Like, yeah, it's coming in. So we put the camera to one direction. I pulled Charlie to one side. So it was me and Charlie back then. I said, "Mate, what are we going to do here?" Because I said, "This is an emergency. So do we carry on filming? Do we cancel it? Do we kind of just go offline and just record it?" Because it had an engine, a prop failure. But we decided to stick with it and kind of cut away if we felt like it was getting a bit wonky. And the guy just brought it down so well. And it was coming in on 2-3 right, and we were on 2-3 left. And it was coming down, and at the last minute it turned and came over to us. I was like, "No, it's coming to us." And it come down and just stopped right in front of us. And they didn't have the equipment to tow it away. So they were trying to turn it around. They couldn't turn it around because the rear wheel just kept sending them around in circles because they only had the one prop on. So it was stuck right in front of us. I just filmed the whole thing. We were on the news. Also, I think it stayed there overnight, and then the RAF brought a bit of equipment up a tow bar to get it back, and they fixed it at Manchester, I think. Yeah, that was probably the most memorable, I'd say, issue we've had at Manchester. Not that it's something we want to see a lot of. But,
no, absolutely not.
No. I mean, it is pretty spectacular, right? An A380 going around. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a sight to see.
That was so late as well. It was literally like 100 or 200 feet in the air, and it just went full toga, and it was so loud. It was epic, and
quite a sight to see as well, especially so late.
Yeah.
Shows the power they've got, though, right?
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
Seeing as we were just talking about sort of other sort of streamers, there's a question here which has been posted a couple of times, so I have seen it. Zaki Rana asks, "Is there a lot of rivalry between live streamers, or do they get along with each other? Are there camps of streamers?"
Yeah, I'd definitely say there's groups of streamers who get along with each other, and there's groups of streamers who don't. And we're definitely in that category as well. There's a lot of streamers, and as Andy said, we've kind of been really fortunate on Airliners Live to be where we are and how the channel's gone. Now, don't get me wrong, we've put a lot of work into it to get there, but there is an element of luck in that as well. So we really try our best to be active in other people's streams and shout out other people's streams as well, which we try to do really regularly, especially newer streamers as well, like people like Miami Planes who are just sort of really starting to get some viewership now, and the guys over at LA Flights are fantastic. But yeah, there is some that we certainly work with. There are some that are very negative towards us, I would say, and we try and just stay away from that completely because it's just not worth getting involved in. And most of it, unfortunately, just comes down to jealousy, in our opinion. So we try and just. Airliners Live has always been about just positivity and just keeping, just enjoying what we're doing, and we try and keep all of that sort of nonsense off the stream where we can.
You've got to sort of stay professional, I think, because at the same time, I've seen a few sort of live streaming side of it where they kind of forget what they're doing, and then it's like
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've made comments here and there which I probably shouldn't have done at times. I'm probably the first to admit that I've made the odd sarky comment here and there, but we try at the most part to just not let that happen, because at the end of the day, like you say, it just comes down to you're there to deliver a good broadcast and just keep people entertained and happy, right? And
well, that's it. If you put a good product out, people will choose to watch it, and if they want to watch someone else, but so be it. There's no point having beef with people over that.
Yeah, it's not worth the stress. I don't think. Just go down, enjoy what you do. And I think recently, both me and Andy, especially since going full time, have been really conscious about where we spend our time in terms of social media and stuff like that. Because you can find that if you've got enough people in your ear about a certain thing, you can quite quickly start to get into that mindset, and negativity can definitely kind of kill creativity as well. Is one of the main things. So me and Andy have certainly just tried to keep ourselves to ourselves as much as we possibly can.
And also when it comes to live aviation, right? So not many people know this, and I think some live aviation streams might not know this either, but the way YouTube works is obviously you get a lot of viewers through recommendations. So you know how you got like the homepage, which has like random videos on it, or you got like the recommendation tab at the side or at the bottom. And we get a lot of our viewers from that. Like there's not that many people just searching directly for Manchester Live, right? Or Heathrow Live or Lanzarote Live. You know, I know they got the webcam down there. So when like people see us in the feed, usually that is based off of like which live stream is live at that time, but also is doing well. So metrics like people hitting the like button, people interacting in chat, people watching for a long period of time, the amount of viewers, the amount of subscribers the channel has. There's a lot of metrics in there. And YouTube does switch it up. It doesn't just like always prioritize one, but it normally does. So as an aviation live stream, you want to avoid being live when another channel, sadly, that is bigger than you or doing better in terms of at that moment, is live, because that means a lot of people aren't going to see your stream. If you can find slots, even if it's at a wonky time, really early in the morning, late in the evening, where no one else is live, all of a sudden you got this huge crowd of people who aren't watching anything, who are just going to get directed to your channel. So, you know, we've stood our ground on the Sunday show. We've always said this Sunday morning is our day. You know, we're never going to kick off if someone streams on a Sunday. We're not like territorial about it. But what we say is we just advertise that Sunday morning at 10 a.m. because then if other streamers know that information ahead of time, they can plan around that rather than clashing with us and splitting the viewers in half. You'd rather just have two streams with full viewers in each of them rather than splitting it.
And it gives more content to the community as well. Like we see a lot of, when we go to other people's streams, we see a lot of what we would consider to be our regulars. And I know the regulars in other shows, but obviously we see a lot of our guys in other people's streams. So it kind of just goes to show that everyone's just looking for aviation content. And if we can, like say, work together in some ways, I know it's not possible in all, to not clash with other channels. There is a benefit to that. And I know in the community, when we used to talk about that on stream, it kind of got taken in the way that Airliners Live just thinks that they own this time slot and no one else can stream there and they don't want other people. It's actually not the case. It's more the case of if we didn't clash with each other, both channels would benefit. Do you know what I mean? So it just makes good business sense. But it is what it is. I think you're never going to please everyone. There's certainly streamers who don't like us, and they've made that very, very obvious. So in terms of the core question, we just do our thing and just do it in the best way we can, really.
Like I said, consistency is key, right? So like if we're always at the same time and people know when to tune into us, because I wouldn't want a channel where we're just streaming on random days and it's just like, you've got to just rely on luck to see us live. You've got to know when we're live, and like I said, it helps other aviation streamers because then they could go live straight after us, so then all of our audience is still around, or they can go live before us. So.
What about the move from Friday to Wednesday? What were the inspiration behind that?
Well, I had a lot of people asking about that. It's been like we had loads of DMs and people very gutted about it as well because it is so consistent. It's like people's routine, like the Sunday morning. Everyone likes just like having a nice chill morning with it on the telly, and it was the same with Friday. And obviously, now that people are back to work a lot more than they were 2 years ago, when everyone was, working from home and all this and furlough. Friday was such a good day. And also with Manchester Airport being so quiet as well, like it was only really busy on Friday, Sunday, and Saturday actually as well. So Friday was such a popular day for us.
Yeah.
And we had to move. We've had to move it recently because we want to spread the content out across the week. So and Wednesday's
Yeah, across
busy
the
now.
week. Yeah, that makes more sense, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
because we were grouping all of our shows towards the end of the week. So we had Thursday Vancouver, Friday Manchester, Saturday off, Sunday Manchester, and then nothing again all the way to Thursday. So it was kind of, well, this isn't kind of the best thing. And now that, as Andy's saying, Manchester is busy pretty much equally across all the days, it made sense to move one of our shows further into the midweek. And there was a few other factors that played a part, one of which was that when we were on the other schedule, both me and Andy would have we'd have Thursday as a day off and then Saturday as a day off.
Yeah.
And we weren't having 2 days off next to each other, which we were kind of getting to the point where we're getting close to burning out here if we keep
Absolutely,
doing what we're doing. So also switching to Wednesday gave us 2 consecutive days off, which has been really beneficial. I mean, it's just good for general health anyway, right?
Absolutely, yeah. You need.
But yeah, I think the main thing was just getting the content spread out and just giving Airliners Live a bit more of a presence throughout the week rather than just around the weekend. So
yeah. Taking the 3/8 out of it, what's always sort of excites you to see come into Manchester in particular?
Well, for me, I wouldn't necessarily say going in, but going out would be the A220 at the minute. It's by far probably one of my, or to be honest, anything loaded with Pratt and Whitney's is kind of a good thing for me. So yeah, anything with Pratt and Whitney's is awesome. But yeah, A220 is probably the coolest thing we see. I mean, apart from obviously the 380, we get the triples and the 330s, which is awesome. Anything heavy is kind of always a hit with the viewers. 757 is great. But yeah, I just love the sound of the Pratt and Whitney's. Sound awesome.
Yeah. The 330's taken off right in front of you this morning was particularly impressive. I think it was the Jet 2 one. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, they do sound great, and it's good for us because I'd say over the period of the channel, we're starting to see aviation get quieter and quieter, which is not good. From a viewer's point of view, obviously from a resident point of view, it's great. But so anything that's loud, like a nice 330 or a 75, we just want to hold on to them for as long as possible, really.
Yeah, and you get the fantastic taxiway in front of the visitors park as well, don't you? And you get the pilots waving at you and the like.
Which is awesome because they vacate in front of us on 2.3s and they taxi pass us on 0.5. So yeah, the RVP is an awesome spot for us, and a massive shout out to those guys, the Aviation Society as well. They've just kind of really worked closely with the channel, and it's a great kind of partnership that we've got with them that we've built up over the years, and it's certainly opened up some fantastic opportunities for us, including obviously the awesome location that we get to stream from every week. It just gives you probably one of the best views in the UK for live aviation for sure.
Yeah,
I would say. Oh, sorry, Steve.
No, you go in, mate. Sorry.
I was just going to say about the RVP. I think that the fact that you're streaming where you're actually streaming is a massive, sort of a massive advert for the RVP as well, because the Aviation Society are doing what they're doing. You can hear them in background when you're streaming, Martin. Some of the information they're giving out is absolutely fantastic. But the likes of the other week after the show, when you had a walk around the little classic cars and things like that, and it's a massive, massive advert for what they actually do there. And it's not just aviation, is it?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, that location is just something that we're so fortunate to have, right? You get a great view of the airport, Concorde being there, the Nimrod, the DC-10, all there for everyone to go down and enjoy. Huge open space as well, which is great when the sun's out. People bringing picnics down and all sorts of cool stuff. And then they've got the facilities, they've got the shop and everything, and the cafe, which obviously, as you know, we make good use of. But I'd say it's just something to sort of cherish, really, because there's not any real locations like that anywhere else.
There's nowhere like that in the UK at all, is it? To be fair.
And at the end of the day, the airport's a business, right? And you need to use something like that and make sure you go down there, you support it, and just enjoy it. And like you say, they do put on great events as well. And the classic car shows we love. Love doing the walkarounds. There's always a great story. Like everyone is always dead happy to talk to you and tell you the history of the car, and that's the sort of stuff we love because we just, as you know, on the channel, sometimes people don't necessarily like it, but our conversation on the channel is kind of what drives the shows, and nice kind of organic conversation with people is just easy content, and it's really interesting content as well, and you do get that with classic cars because everyone's got a story to tell, and it's just awesome content, and we're glad that it kind of flows well and our viewers enjoy it, because if they didn't, we'd probably make another channel just to go and do that, because it's great fun, and they put quite a lot of them on, especially through the summer, and hopefully we'll see quite a few more of them this year as well.
Fantastic.
And they don't charge you either. Sorry, Tom. Yeah,
no, that's all right.
You just go down and you pay for your parking, and you get in this amazing classic car event that you can just go around and look at, which is awesome.
I was just going to say, seeing as we sort of, but just chatting then about sort of, the streaming at Manchester and the opportunities that you've got from there. Zaki Rana with an interesting question saying, any chance of a collaboration with the airport or any airlines to do behind the scenes live content?
I mean, we've not been approached by the airport at all, actually. And I mean, literally nothing. Which is always it's slightly puzzled me at times, I'll be honest, especially in the last couple of years. Obviously, we've had COVID, but I'd say the year before that, and obviously with the Virgin Atlantic retirement flights as well, I was surprised that they didn't reach out to us in some capacity, but it's just not something we've been offered the opportunity of. We probably would take an opportunity like that for sure, and I know there are a few airlines who do pay attention to what we do, which is awesome. I've had a few messages from a few people who've been involved and said they love the content that we're doing, which is great. But yeah, the airport themselves haven't reached out to us now. Not sure why that is. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, on top of that, Shabs is asking, if you had the opportunity, what's the one airline you would love to do it behind the scenes with?
Well, probably something with the Jet 275s, I think, would be awesome at this time for us. As I guess we're probably not going to see them for too much longer with the huge A321 order that they've done. But either that or the Emirates, I'd say. Emirates would be fantastic. I'd love to do some behind the scenes stuff with the 380, especially with the 380, how it's such a pinnacle of the shows. Like, it's something everyone looks forward to, and doing something with them would be pretty mega. I think.
Yeah, you had one the other week coming in, sort of sunset in the golden hour, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I think that was a midweek show, and you were at a different location.
Right. That was the South Side show, wasn't it? And then I went off to we were there with Andy and Matt, and Matt's one of our moderators, and they stayed there to film it for the guys watching. I took a wander up to the Pappy lights on the approach path, and kind of I had to handhold the camera because I was stood on a fence, like balancing on the fence, and the thing come right over me. I'd got it, touchdown, and about 15 seconds later, you just got the downdraft from it. It's like blowing you off the fence. I had to cut the video short of it, but yeah, it was pretty mega. And I'd say sunset shows are something that we're looking forward to for the summer, because Southside sunset shows are just pretty mega.
Yeah, they're absolutely awesome to watch it at home. That's for sure. That one.
Yeah, it was a great show. That one, we love that.
I'll say briefly, going back to sort of topic of conversation, which we spoke about pretty much at the beginning, which is like the beginnings of the Airliners live sort of channel, and Ian will probably vouch for this as well, because when the first time I went to see Ian, when we were planning to do like my first trip to Manchester, I think the first thing that we watched, I think it's either like the following day or maybe before, was actually Airliners live. We were watching you on Twitch, weren't we? So we remember.
Classic. Proper OG viewers then, right?
I was actually going to just interrupting you, Tom. Sorry, Marty, you don't have to answer this just yet. But I know a few people have mentioned Charlie in the chat, and people are just asking what's Charlie up to these days. And I want to ask if he'd ever come back just as just for old time's sake, sort of thing, just for an
cameo appearance. I think he came back and did. He came and did a charity show with us at one point. I do keep in touch with him as well. He's cool, but he's kind of got his head stuck into work at the minute.
Yeah.
And I think at the time, I would, without necessarily speaking on his behalf, I think that he'd made the decision that was he'd done his bit, right, and he just wanted to move on to other things, and he just got into full-time employment. And the thing was, my mentality, because we didn't really touch too much on it, but the early days of the channel were really, really tough. We were streaming to no one, man. You're just talking to yourself, and you're trying to do that for 2.5 hours, and there's not much chat interaction, and it was really, really difficult. And then as the channel started to get bigger and bigger, I really kind of got super invested into it, and I wouldn't switch off. Like, my mentality is literally we go.
Absolutely,
even on the days off, we're doing so. And Andy's very similar to that. We do our best, but you just don't switch off from it. And Charlie was very much, I would say, wanting to switch off from it after the show, and that kind of got us into a position where I was wanting a lot more from him, and he was wanting a lot less from me. And obviously, me and Charlie are good friends as well, right? So there was no bad blood in it, but it was just a case of we kind of said to him, "Look, do you want to continue with it? We're really going to give it a massive push, or do you want to step away from it?" And he just said, "Yeah, I think I want to step away from it."
Yeah, I think with something like that, I think like you said, when you first started there and you weren't getting the footfall or anything like that, and for you to have the mentality that you've got to be 100% into it.
Yeah, but to be fair to Charlie, though, Charlie streamed through the hardest times of Airliners Live, and he was there every week without fail. And he was instrumental in growing the channel. Both me and Charlie started with 0 viewers, and Charlie left when we were at 1,500 viewers concurrent, which is, he's done the hard work. Like, literally, it was me and him. We grew the channel and we grew the audience, and you can't take any of that away from him. Really, he really was there through all of the difficult times in the channel, and there you go. The rest is history, really. But
absolutely,
he's a good lad, and we keep
of course,
in touch.
I know it's a massive gamble what you've had to take, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was, and we really wanted to. It's quite funny that we really wanted to go part-time by the end of last year, and we actually ended up being able to go full-time, which was such a shock for the both of us. And that's kind of pretty much testament down to just Andy's hard work on the behind-the-scenes stuff, and both of us just putting 110% in. Like, we were both working obviously 9 to 5 every day, streaming on the weekend. My missus, it's like, "We don't see you, I don't see you," and you're getting 1 day off a week, and it was pretty rough, but it's been well worth it.
Absolutely, you can see, like you say, since Andy joined, you can see if you're looking at on a graph, the gradients of it going up and the rapid growth of,
and that's when you can see the two of us. I think that's what works well with me and Andy is we both we don't switch off. We're always constantly messaging each other 7 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. Oh, I should do this. And you can tell the channel, you can't, with live streaming, and you guys will know, you can't say, "Oh, should we just jack it in this week? Can we not be bothered this week?" You can't do that. You just have to do it. And it does pay off in the end. It really, really does.
I think part of your appeal watching, though, there's a real kind of humbleness and appreciation of who's watching and who's sort of helping the channel out. And I think that goes a long way into making you very kind of sort of agreeable and a pleasure to watch, to be honest.
It has to be. You can't run a business that's community facing without paying attention to the community. You're just going to get, like, live streaming all goes into engagement. You have to have engaged viewers. For so many of the metrics on YouTube, you have to have your viewers engaged. You have to be commenting, you have to be liking, getting involved. And if your viewers are unengaged, then your channel's going to instantly start to decline. And we certainly say all of the time the community is the main focus for us, making sure that they're happy, they're enjoying the shows, and without that, there's so many things that I'd say Airliners Live would have done differently, and even looking at the charity shows, it's the community that's raised the money for them, and it's all about the community for Airliners Live, 100%.
Just going to jump in with a bing bong moment as Belgius has put £10 in the super chat.
Hey.
Playing newcomers on the lounge, but great to see Martin come across so well. Very diplomatic.
Oh yeah, thanks very much, Belgius. It's great to see you, pal.
Yeah, very good to see you. Very political, right?
Yeah. I'm going to say to you, Steve, speaking on behalf of these two as well, it's just the northern persona, to be quite honest. You were saying about attitudes and things like that.
Yeah.
You wouldn't experience much of that down in Dorset, would you?
Well, the north starts at about Winchester in my book, so I think they're a bit further up than that.
But let's have some more bing bong moments before the end of the show, at least. I did see a question, but all the bing bongs decided to.
Is everyone spamming bing bongs at the end of the show?
Everyone's spamming bing bongs in the chat. Yeah, I've lost it now.
I think we're the only aviation streamers that do that. Like, encourage people to spam the chat whenever something happens. But obviously, donations
at the moment. Honestly,
I know.
at the moment.
But then other things like the A380 comes in and the chat's just unusable, and the what else would happen? A 777 or a 75 or something. We'll just get everyone to spam it as much as possible.
It's all right. It's all part of the community fun. So. You get annoyed if it was like spamming you with some sort of spammy website or something like that. But yeah,
we get plenty of that as well. But luckily, we got mods on there looking after that.
We had a few interesting ones, but
yeah.
It's a bit weird.
We have like unbelievable moderators on our channel. Though they are, a lot of them are in the chat right now. We've got Mrs. Airliners Live. Obviously, you had Loopy on the channel here. The other week, and he was fantastic. And it sounded like I was joking when I said it, but I said today, I was like, we've got a lot to live up to here, because Loopy's got like some fascinating stories. Like, and then me and Martin have only really got Airliners Lives to talk about. We don't got any like crazy mad things that have happened in our life other than that. We're actually quite introvert, me and Martin. We actually just we get home after a stream and we like to just chill, and we just like we don't go out drinking. We don't really eat out that much. I travel quite a bit, but it's not really a social thing for me. It's more just like I like getting the content and I like the experience of it. But
I must admit, I'm and a few of the viewers will know I wouldn't say antisocial, but I'm quite happy in my own space and at home, like doing my own thing. So being so sort of extroverted, I'd say, on the channel and talking to people, that's probably one of the things that I would say really is difficult, and especially for people who are saying maybe in a similar mindset to me, that it does take a lot out of you, and you come home very tired and all of that sort of thing. But it is great to kind of just get out and just be like that out in front of the community and do the shows, and then just come back and then just relax.
Yeah, we get a lot of love around the airport as well. Like, we've not had a bad experience with someone who's come and said hello. Everyone after the show, guaranteed after every show, we have people who we've never seen before, and sometimes a lot of amazing stories. They'll say, "Hey, you really helped me through this in my life," or "You really inspired me to get into photography or video or anything," or "You inspired me to come down and get into aviation in general." I mean,
we had a guy today, didn't we, come over and said, "I found the channel and I've only been into aviation since I saw you guys, and I've just gone down the first time today and seen the A380 in person for the first time." You just think, wow, that's pretty cool, man. Just get people to come over and say that, and you just think, you know what, there's days where you come down and you think, oh, I'm tired today, and you got to be super entertaining and everything like that. But then when you get comments like that, it kind of just tops the bottle back up again, and it is great to meet everyone.
It makes it all worth
we try and be like, we try and be like a middle ground for like experience as well, because like the people who watch, sometimes there'll be people who like work at airports, you'll have like pilots watching, you'll have people who are veterans to the whole aviation industry scene, and then you also have people who just don't really know much about planes. They won't be able to tell you a Boeing from an Airbus, but we want to just encompass everyone. We don't want to like, because I find you get this with any hobby, right? There's always like an elitist approach to it. It's like, oh, you don't know what this plane is. How dare you? How could you not know? How could you not know what a 757 is? It's like, yes, because you've seen them so many times. a lot of people just don't know. Like, they don't know what that is. What's the difference between a 330, 300 and a,
That's what I mean, but they're the viewers who are going to turn into your regular viewers at some point. So
yeah,
you've got to be very careful with that, and just make sure you're keeping a good balance between giving enough for what the sort of regular guys want to see, and giving enough for what newcomers want to see as well. And we try and always keep that balance in mind as well.
And how could you not love aviation? Like, honestly, it's so cool.
I'm going to ask you both the same question, and it's where your love for aviation came from.
What do you reckon, Andy?
And mine came from mostly traveling, and I got into flight sim quite early on, and it was mostly around the A320 I found most interesting for me with flight sims. But traveling in general, it's always been a huge part of my life. In fact, I thoroughly believe that like seeing the world is one of the pursuits of happiness. It's just like where your heart is in like you want to see what's out there, you know. Obviously that's different to different people's tastes, right? Some people might want to see, you know, the UK, or I know Martin's very fond of the likes of Anglesey and Scotland and the likes, and I can understand that. But we always have the desire to adventure, and obviously aviation is just like the gateway to that. And the world we live in now, it's unbelievable how connected we are. Even like with so close to the pandemic, right? We're just exiting it still. It's still so easy to see the world. Like, look at Ryanair. You can get a flight all the way to the Canary Islands for like 20 quid. It's like
it's bizarre, isn't it?
And Owen's in the chat. He's gonna love this. The shout out that Play Airlines are starting at like Liverpool, and I think they already fly to Stansted. And with them, you're gonna be able to fly like return to the States from the UK for like 250 quid with them. It's like it's just unbelievable. I think it's less than that, to be honest. I think I've seen lower prices. So for me, that's where it's all come from, and that is like, planes are awesome as well, by the way. like the noise of them, they look great, etc. But that's my love for it, and it's just it sets me off, honestly, to aviation.
Can I just add on to the question when you just mentioned then about like player and things like that? Do you think that you know, the low cost fares, do you think it's sustainable in this like sort of economy what we're living in at the moment? Price of fuel and things like that. You're not really seeing, like, you see your cost of living going up and the price of fuel for your car and things like that, but you can still get to the other side of Europe for 20 quid.
They're just gonna have to right. I think you'll see an increase overall in prices. I mean, they're obviously going to have to do something because a lot of that is landing fees, and you've got service fees and also taxes as well. It's like with fuel. Have you ever looked at like petrol prices and you see how the breakdown of it? A lot of it is just tax.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously they're going to have to like try and balance that out with the amount of people that are traveling. There's a lot of factors to it, right? And there's also factors like going green as well. A lot of airlines like to go green. You can even pay a fee to like offset your carbon on a flight these days and things like that. But I think overall, budget travel is going to get more popular, in my opinion, because people are going to want that alternative.
I think as a consumer, though, we just got to be careful not to drive the prices down too much. Because I think if we're sort of bearing in mind and kind of putting in perspective of where we're going to, and sometimes you're getting flight tickets for less than a day saver on the bus, and you just think, insane. If we continue with that, is it just going to be a complete sort of, right, well, that company's gone, here's the new one, right, that company's gone, here's the new... Do you know what I mean? You maybe pay... Personally, for me, maybe I'm probably different to most people. I'd prefer to pay a bit more for a nicer experience, I think, on a plane. So obviously, don't get me wrong, Ryanair are smashing it, and they kind of kept Manchester going through the pandemic, but in my opinion, I would rather pay a bit more for, say, an EasyJet or a Jet2 experience than
Jet 275
flying with flying with Ryanair. But I guess it's supply and demand, isn't it?
I suppose even if you were to pay like 20 quid for a Ryanair flight, by the time you bought a couple of drinks and put your baggage on board and things like that 20 quid's gone up to 50, 60 quid, hasn't it?
They get you, don't
they? Right, aren't you?
It's a race to the bottom.
You're welcome for a private jet anytime you want it.
Go on, then.
Yeah.
Well, to get Martin on a plane, you'll need something a bit.
You need a private jet. So
a private jet. Yeah. When was the last time you
were a nervous flyer, are you, Martin?
No.
What's that?
Are you a nervous flyer?
Not a nervous flyer. I'm just not a fan of being locked in places. So I would say being locked in at 38,000 feet, probably. I'd say I used to travel a lot when I was younger, but that's definitely got a bit worse as I've got a bit older. So that's something that I'm hoping, I'd say, this year to try and work on myself. And I've took some flack for it as well. Don't get me wrong, but it's something that I'm quite happy and open talking about, because at the end of the day, mental health and everything like that is so prominent these days. And
absolutely.
And for people who, especially people with lots of viewers, if you don't talk about it, then you're probably going to find there's a lot of people in the chat who have a similar thing, and maybe they're embarrassed to talk about it. And you just think, well, what's the point? Like we had one streamer make a comment that, how can you run an aviation channel if you don't like flying? And I just thought to myself, what a stupid, narrow-minded thing to say. Like,
absolutely.
You can like a lot of things without necessarily doing every single. You know what I mean? Do you like football? Well, why aren't you on the pitch next to Ronaldo then? You know
absolutely.
What I mean? So, at the end of the day, it's just one of them things, isn't it? You got to be open and honest about it, and you can't with mental health and things like that. You just got to talk about it, man. 100%.
Absolutely, you do. Yeah. I know there was a comment before when Andy you were about Andy's streams, what he was doing when he did the full EasyJet flights and things like that. And somebody had put a comment in the chat saying that they showed some of this footage to nervous flyers, and because it was just absolutely sat on a plane doing nothing, it was nice and quiet. There was absolutely nothing happening, no dramas, no nothing. It sort of relaxed these people and made them feel a lot more confident about flying.
And I'd say for people who may necessarily struggle with that sort of thing, another really valuable thing to watch, and it's something that we've actually just added to the channel on Mondays, is flight simulation content, because watching how the aircraft's flown and seeing the different things that happen at different stages of flight will kind of calm you down, because I guess a lot of it is you're not in control, right? And that's kind of the key.
I've got a problem with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of anxiety and mental health issues that come with not being in control.
Yeah.
And you can put yourself more in control by understanding the environment. And for example, when you take off in an Airbus, you get 1,300 feet and you reduce back to climb thrust. Now, that's completely normal, and it's a standard thing of flight. You'll hear the engines throttle back on the lower power rating. If you're a passenger sat in the back and all of a sudden you hear the throttle go back, you're like this, aren't you? You're like, whoa, why? What's that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Watch a couple of flight sim streams, you'll know exactly why it's happening, and it's I think that would probably help a lot of people. So there's lots of that content about as well.
You're there noticing things, aren't you? Then it's like the slats go in and the flaps retract, and obviously the spoilers when you touch down. You're like, oh, there's that. And then whoever sat next to you is like, I know, I don't care. I just want to, I just want to get there.
A lot of different things that happen that are mainly audible. And I think if you get used to picking up on those audio things and you actually know what it is or what it could be, then you'd probably be a lot more relaxed.
Absolutely. I think some of your videos, Steve, some of your landings in your flight sim would put people off, wouldn't they?
My one the other day, I was at 28,000 feet at 3 miles out, and I absolutely greased it. It was a hell of a landing.
Rate my landing.
Sounds like a bit of a London City approach, that there.
It's just straight down like that.
Nose dive it straight in. Mind you, you're not one stalk. I've seen your landings.
320 did the sound barrier. Amazing. It's going to go down in history.
I can't land the 320, mate. So
can't do it. With your channel after this, I might have a look at that.
I'll have to try and find it. Yeah.
We'll link you. I'm sure we will. That's where Ian shares it with us, so he links it to his own channel. So I'm sure we can do that. I'm sure we can do that. Right, a couple questions from the chat. Susie B is asking: would you consider doing a day in the life of Airliners live, like the day-to-day? Sort of, running.
We've had this a couple.
We've had this,
and we spoke about this in the cafe the other week. And we just said, how boring would that be?
It would be so boring. Yeah.
I mean, listen, guys, if you want to see me packing boxes and going down to the Royal Mail lady and giving it to them, and then maybe doing a bit of accounts here and there, and I mean, I guess we could put an entertaining video together of the day in the life of Airliners Live, but it would definitely not be a typical day. It would be a day where we're out filming a lot of content. We could definitely do that, but that's definitely not what we do every day.
Yeah.
Especially since we aren't full time. Obviously, the business needs running, and as you guys know, there's certain administrative stuff that needs doing, and yeah, it's mostly pretty dull, I would say.
Yeah, it's very boring, mundane. It's like there's a lot of admin and a lot of when you're running all these like I said, we're quite diverse across the platforms, and we're always trying to innovate and find new ways of growing each platform as well. So we're always like paying attention to each one and just sitting down, me and Martin together in a. We've heard of Discord. It's like a voice chat app you can use, and we've got a server on there which is just us two. And our web developer, and for some reason Fez has got in there somehow. I don't know how.
Yeah, and it's called The Office.
It's called The Office, yeah.
It's a really short commute. I just get out of my bed and I come here. I never get stuck in traffic.
Yeah, that's great.
And
yeah.
just log on to that. And yeah, that's where we kind of do. We're always testing things. We're always trying new content, trying different resolutions, different lengths of time, different times of cutting between the play. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not just a case of just chucking a video up and that'll do. We do a lot of testing, and yeah, it's pretty. I wouldn't say it's good viewing material on the most part, but I mean it's a video we could definitely do. Yeah.
Hey, Joe Robinson saying you can watch us playing squash. That would be a good a good bit of content there.
Yeah, I must admit, since we went full time, we've been playing squash once a week, trying to lose a bit of that lockdown belly.
Yeah, I feel your pain.
Yeah, well, we're actually quite chubby in real life. You don't see the bottom half of us usually, do you? You only see up here, so we'll hide it well. These footies are great for it, by the way.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right, other questions we've got. Let's have a look here. Hide Your APUs, Jack Rolls is here. He asks, have you seen the Airbus Belugas before at Chester? Because he would love to catch them himself.
Oh, well, Martin, you've seen your first one not too long ago, right?
Yeah, so I saw him fly over a few times back in the olden days of Airliners Live.
Yeah.
But yeah, we actually went down there and filmed a few times. I did a vlog actually down there, which was really well received. And we just love filming the Belugas. They're so unique, and viewers love them, and they always do well, the videos. And Andy used to live nearby for quite a while, yeah, we love the Belugas. Love to do as much content with them as we possibly can, really.
And where I lived was a town called Ellesmere Port, which is where the Vauxhall Astra plant is, and it's also where right next to Broughton in Wales, which is where the Airbus Broughton plant is. And I could just nip over it, like it'd be like a 15-minute drive, and I'd go see them. And yeah, I've caught them many times. Shout out to the guys over at the Beluga Spotter group on Facebook, run by Stu and Lynn Jones, because previously, when I started spotting for them, you'd only see them on radar when they pinged up. Like there was no schedule, and there still is no schedule. You can't go, I want to go on the 2nd of July and see some Belugas, because you have no clue what's going to come in. And these are come in, sometimes no times in a day, sometimes once, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day into Harden Airport, that is where the Broughton plant is. And the spotters group, Stu and Lynn, they've got a lot of contacts inside, and they relay a lot of information. And as a result of them guys, if you're looking for movements about Beluga spotters or advice about spotting in that area, get in touch with them, the spotters group on Facebook, because they are Stu's a good friend of mine, and also it's an unbelievable group. They give
so much time for everyone.
Yeah,
he's absolutely awesome. Like the first time I went down, he just showed me around all places to go. I got a lot of time for those guys.
Yeah, so big up them guys, and they post all the movements the night before. So I think probably by now they've already got the movements for tomorrow up. Since it's Monday. They don't fly on weekends, by the way, into Harden. It's just weekdays.
Yeah. I was going to actually ask you about that. If I know I live near Wharton, and obviously it's where they build typhoons and things like that.
Yeah.
But you never get to hear about anything what's flying. But there are these little cliques of guys who sort of have insiders and things like that.
Yeah.
Who just don't say anything to anybody else, sort of thing. But it's not like that with the Belugas, because it's like anything's going to be hit and miss, and they're either flying or they're not. So it's nice that they actually tell you when they're going out.
Yeah. That Beluga group is brilliant. That Beluga group is an example of like an aviation community done really, really well, because it just brings everyone together. Like people who work at Airbus, people who are experts, and then people who are just like, wow, look at that plane with a face on it. It's so cute. And they get the kids down, and they all go crazy for it. So they do a great job. And there's a few groups around Manchester. I don't really use Facebook anymore, other than for Airliners Live. I actually deleted my account pretty much. I deleted all my friends and everything because I thought Facebook was useless as a social media, but for groups and things and chat, the Messenger app is really good as well. So keep hold of that as well.
Brilliant. We'll move on to a question from Lauren Jane, which will probably get us all talking. Which is, what is your all-time favourite livery? Any aircraft, any year?
Ooh.
Landor 747.
Straight in there. Absolutely. 100% Landor will probably beat everything else for me.
Yeah.
I don't know about historic, because there's just been some really good ones. But I'm too set on, that Iceland Air Heckler Aurora, the Northern Lights livery. I don't know, it's breathtaking. It's when you see it in person, it's just like your eyes are glued to it.
Yeah, it's a stunner, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wow.
Yeah,
I
heard you mention about the one with the mountains painted on the side.
Yeah,
you were talking about it today.
It's the glacier livery in it. So I've seen
they hand painted that.
So did they hand paint that?
Wow.
It's been hand painted, that one.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not a transfer. Yeah.
So there's that one I've seen, and the Heckler one. I'm still waiting on the last one to come in, and then I've got the full set. So yeah, just waiting on. It's got the stripe, the red stripe all the way down.
Or the independent.
Oh yeah,
757.
I need to see that one. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the new ones?
We said on the show before, obviously, the standard Iceland Air livery is all right, as in the old one.
The old one.
And I would say the same about the new one. It's all right. Now, whether or not they do any specials on these newer aircraft would be what takes it to the next level. Yeah. The one thing I would say, which I've said on the show before, from a plane spotter's point of view, is I'm really glad that they did the different colour tails.
Yeah.
So at least we've got something to collect and go out and shoot.
Absolutely,
right? Get all of them. I quite like that they've done that. And the livery itself is definitely growing on me a bit. The more
I'll say it's a grower, isn't it? Definitely.
It all just comes down to whether or not they do the specials. Anything special.
Oh man, I hope they
don't mention the Condor livery then.
Oh, the stripy one.
Don't get me started on that.
It's just, I don't know. It looks all right. It just doesn't to me feel like much effort went into it.
We were saying last week, it's a stunning marketing ploy because the whole of the aviation industry is talking about Condor all of a sudden.
Yes, that's very true.
That's I think you were saying, Andy, it doesn't line up with the exits or the windows. It's really not. If you're going to go stripes, at least make it OCD good stripes.
OCD,
make it spot on. They not care where the windows are, where the doors are, whatever. It's like that Thomas Cook Club livery, and you open the door and it says something it shouldn't.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. If you
I love Cook's Club, whatever it says.
Yeah. Is that what it says? Is it?
Yeah. That's what I was meant to say.
But it ain't Cook's. Brilliant. All right. There's another one here which I've just scrolled through by accident. Right. Another interesting conversation, I think, from Mike B says, do you think that the Farnborough Airshow should be opened up to the public again? Of course, they've decided to close the public days because, why would you? And keep it to sort of trade days, I believe. Anyone, obviously, I've been to Farnborough Airshow. Anyone else been to a Farnborough Airshow?
I've never been to Farnborough.
Just me then.
Was that where the aircraft came down on the road, was it? Or just short of the field?
Shoreham was the one. Yeah, Shoreham was the recent one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah,
So what's
so
the reason they've closed it down then?
Yeah, when I heard that they were closing the public days for Farnborough, my immediate thought was why? Like, why would you? Because it's like one of the biggest air shows in the world, sort of thing. You know, between that and Paris, where they alternate it, and then it's like, oh yeah, we're not opening it up to the public anymore. But it was like one of the best sort of air shows for the season, because you'd see a lot more than what you'd see at like a Cosford or a Yeovilton or I don't know anywhere else sort of thing. But they thought, no, we'll just keep it to a trade sort of thing. So I think personally that was probably the wrong move to make, and they should open it up again to the public, because you know people always circled it in the calendar when it was Farnborough year, and it was like, right, got to make sure we go there. But now it's like you got to
It gets
rely
a
on
lot
sort
of
of
publicity to it, doesn't it? I mean, you want publicity to. I guess it depends on the structure of the air show, really. I mean, is it predominantly an air show? Is it predominantly a business exercise? Do you know what I mean? Are they there to sell planes, or are they there to entertain the public? And I guess that's just a decision they'll have to.
It used to be on TV years ago, didn't it? They used to have shows, didn't they, on TV a long time ago, and it was like I say, it was just predominantly it's just a business exercise, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
so it was like a
not
week.
something I know much about the
It was like
Farnborough
Monday to Friday was trade day, and then like the public days was Saturday and Sunday. I think a Friday was thrown in there now as well, but they've just decided to close it all off, no public days, and just keep it as a business show, which I think is wrong, if you ask me. But that I don't know if anyone else would think, like, if everyone knows sort of how busy, a lot of people would travel to Farnborough from a lot of places. So, like people coming in from different countries wanting to go to Farnborough because it was like the air show. Whereas now, I think Fairford or the Air Tattoo kind of has that sort of feeling now.
I definitely say kind of the whenever you talk about air shows, everyone's always looking forward to that, aren't they? And
as I'm trying to get sponsorship off Bournemouth Tourism Board, 1st to the 4th of September, come to the Bournemouth Airshow, everybody. It's great.
Excellent. A quick goodbye to Susie B, who I've just seen. Got to go. Really enjoyed being part of the Departure Lounge tonight. Take care, everybody. Thank you very much for watching.
Cheers, Susie.
Yeah, it's a strange decision to shut the public days off, but it's a weird one for that. Okay, so moving on. In terms of plans for sort of going forward and stuff, obviously you got Manchester coming, hopefully Vancouver again. I did see
Vancouver will 100% be coming back.
I did see a question to sort of say if you could have any access to any airport in the world to do like a behind the scenes type thing, all the access to any airport, which one would you have gone for?
Any airport in the world, Probably Dubai.
Dubai's a good shout.
Yeah, I think Dubai, just the sheer volume of traffic and heavies and the amount of stuff that must be going on behind the scenes there to keep things moving would just be remarkable, right? To see what goes on there.
Yeah, I have a proper soft spot for Miami. I've never actually been there either. I need to. That's probably my next big trip is Miami. But the variety you see there, it's kind of like Vancouver-esque, I guess, but a lot more warm. And I think more heavies and more cargo as well. And that is just right up my alley. I would love to go to Vancouver personally as well. I think me and Martin probably will end up doing some kind of trip there when we can build Martin up to that kind of level of flying.
Listen, I'm going. I'm going.
Yeah. We'll get you on a little Piper first, and then we'll...
Even if you have to put me on a little rowing boat, I'll get
there. Miami, Vancouver, and LAX to an extent is pretty good. You got the two runways, obviously arrivals and departures are right next to each other on the north and south, so that's really nice. But I think Miami has quite a lot of character too.
In terms of approaches, I'd like to be a passenger on, though. It would definitely be the circle to land at Innsbruck.
Yeah. Yes.
That would be the one. Make sure you're on the right hand side of the aircraft too.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty nuts.
What about Anchorage? We're saying
Anchorage is
Anchorage,
another
all
good
the
one.
747s and that.
Yeah, Anchorage is another great one, and it's something that's on the radar as a Vancouver bonus, actually. So Henry's looking to travel with the channel as well. So there's a few things up his way that we're definitely looking to do, including actually the float plane base just
of course.
downtown.
Yeah.
We're going to do a live show from there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because when we asked him initially, we said, "Why don't you do a bonus show from Toronto? Because that's in your neck of the woods, isn't it, Henry?" No, it's not at all. Canada's a massive place, and it's like a.
He went, yeah, I can do it. It's about a 4-hour flight. It's a 4-hour flight. Let's do that.
Yeah, so Toronto, and they fly. Is it 777s? Is it and 330s from with Air Canada every hour from Vancouver to Toronto? So there must be mega demand on that. Mega demand.
Yeah.
I bet it'd be a cracking flight to do like an internal flight on like a 777 or
yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. It's so cool, like, isn't it? To be able to, it's like they're operating the 75s now down to Ibiza and stuff like that. You just think that's quality. That's really good. And like Andy said, just the demand for that route must be so high. They're operating wide bodies every hour between knots.
Wow. Yeah.
It was like back in the day when British Airways used to operate shuttle runs from Heathrow to Manchester using the 757s and
the 76s.
Well, we were supposed to get the 747 retro in Manchester, weren't we?
Correct.
They were going to do the flight, and I think Greenpeace going to put a hold on that one. But yeah, that was pretty bad. A lot of ad geeks booked tickets on that flight as well. That was a shame that didn't happen.
So what happened? Did he just rock up and it was just an A320 instead?
Well, no, I think he changed it the day before, and then luckily they did offer refunds on it because they kind of clocked on that a lot of av geeks were flying on that because it was the retro 747, and they advertised it as a retro 74 as well. So that would have been awesome to see.
Because you'd get people doing that, wouldn't you? If you did let's say you did a flight, I don't know, to Paris or something. And they just used like an A380 one time. You get people flying there just for that.
You did the other month with the Madrid flight. You did.
That was it.
They were doing the crew training from London Heathrow.
So
Steve, you can vouch for that too.
And did you fly it as well?
To be honest, I flew Heathrow to Frankfurt and back in the morning just to say I'd been on a 380.
Yeah. I did the same.
It's quite cheap as well, wasn't it? It wasn't expensive.
Well, I did it. I'm not showing off. It was just pure facts. I did it in business class there and back for less than 200 quid.
Yeah. I remember that price. Yeah.
The only reason Andy didn't fly business class was because he sacrificed his business class experience to get a good view of the wing with the GoPro.
Yeah,
I mean, in hindsight, we could have just bought 2 tickets and stuck the GoPro there and let you all swap into the business class.
I mean,
we just sat and drank champagne and ate good food, pretty much, and still safety cards.
You're still getting hate mail of Greta Thunberg for it now, aren't you?
I'm still get over it, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was a great flight. Well, I did Madrid, so the same. I think I stayed like 2 nights in Madrid, and that city is amazing, by the way. Madrid, oh my gosh, what a beautiful city Madrid is. But that was awesome, and wasn't that because it was for an entire month they were running the A380 once daily from Heathrow to Frankfurt and Heathrow to Madrid, right? Yeah. And it was to train the crew up. Yeah, it was probably not the most economical decision of their lives, but it worked.
Well, it was that ridiculous. I saw Frankfurt for an hour and a half. I had enough time to buy a fridge magnet for my mum and a keyring for my brother, and come back again. Yeah, and I was back in Heathrow by midday. It was my carbon footprint.
Was that 380 going back as well?
Yeah, it was exactly the same plane. It never left the gate.
I get you. Okay, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, decent that.
Just want to say a quick hello to friend of the show, Transatlantic Alison, who has been convinced by your selling of Bournemouth Airshow, and is now going to book the days off so she can come down and watch the airshow.
Ah, well, fantastic. Let us know, and we'll I'll show you the sights of Bournemouth, which will take about a minute, and then the rest of the day you can do whatever you fancy.
She'd be better off up at Blackpool, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
We don't even have donkeys on the beach down here.
But yeah, resident friend of the show and Virgin A330 pilot who, as a funny story, caught her departing I can't get it out now. Heathrow last weekend, and she texted me from the cockpit saying that she was running behind because of bagging issues with passengers. So it was a massive wait to actually wait for her to depart. Footage ain't brilliant because I was at the other side of the runway, but still managed to get her anyway. So, but a big fantastic hello to her for tuning in this evening as always.
What do you both do to switch off from Airliners Live?
Drink cider and sleep.
Yeah, I message each other with ideas for where to go next, I guess.
Yeah. So you don't really switch off then?
I'll be honest. I really don't think I do. I'll be honest that much. I like photography and I like a bit of wildlife photography and stuff like that, but it's not something I do very often. So yeah, I'd say really, I've got me fish tanks and stuff that I keep on top of, and yeah, I'd say mostly, to be honest, I enjoy being busy. Definitely for me personally, it's good for my mental health, keeping nice and busy, and the channel kind of looks after that for me. So yeah. I'm pretty much full send it, I guess, at the moment. It may change, but me and Andy have got a kind of thing getting going in the background, a bit of a photography vlog channel, which we haven't actually spoke about before, but we are going to be launching that. So I guess that will kind of take over as our relaxation kind of thing, just go off and do that. But yeah, at the moment it's just work.
Is that going to be photography, aviation photography? Just
no,
general photography,
landscape photography, nighttime photography, all that sort of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, Kevin D kind of answered the question. I mean, we don't do that all the time, but squash, gym, barbecues.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we had our first little barbecue because I've just moved house. This is like a new place for me.
Okay, right.
I moved much closer to Manchester. I used to be in Ellesmere Port, which is like almost a 70-mile round trip to Manchester Airport. Yeah. But we do watch quite a lot of YouTube and Twitch as well.
Oh yeah, Jen in the chat. Yes, I do like watching a lot of streams actually, especially on Twitch. It's something I enjoy. Yeah, that's a good channel actually. I didn't even think of that.
And I watch a lot of YouTube. So
too many hours watching other people's content.
I was going to ask that. Is that what you do? So when you're relaxing, rather than watching Squid Game on Netflix, you watch somebody else's stream.
Yeah. I must admit, it's super niche. The stuff that I watch, and it's probably not to everyone's taste. But there's a lot of content regarding, Grand Theft Auto, the game. There's kind of a very niche section of that, which is kind of like role play servers. So people will go on and they'll make a character.
Yeah,
and you have to be in
like the
that
British
character.
police and things like that.
Yeah, but on these servers, they basically stay in character, and they've been in character for the last 5 years. Every time they go on, and the stories that just develop, everything's improvised.
Oh wow!
And it's one of those things where you just watch and you think that's because you have to remember everything that character said and every interaction they've had with other characters and stuff, and you can never break character on the server because you can get kicked out of it for doing it. And some of the biggest Twitch streamers are in that at the moment and making millions from it. Wow. And the stories that come out of it are pretty interesting. And it's a lot of it's a comedy thing. A lot of it's quite comedic, and I enjoy watching that. And and enjoy a lot of just YouTube videos in general. Really, I spend a lot of the time on YouTube. I think Andy's probably more YouTube than Twitch.
YouTube for me, yeah. Dragon's Den is like my number one. That's that's my go-to. It's such a good show.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah.
Loving the new season as well, and just like general hanging out and trying to get out and doing things. But no, it's
must be difficult for you.
Yeah, but I'm not complaining about it. Like I do love that channel. We love doing it, but just got to be careful not to burn out because that would be disastrous.
That is something we're super conscious of. Is just. Especially now with the reschedule as well, it's just making sure we've got that time to, we've got the channel settled, we've got the business settled, we're full time now, so now's the time just to go right. Let's just try and get a bit of a life back. Do you know what I mean? At some point, and at least try and have one day a week where we're doing something that's probably still photography, videography related, but just something a bit different, really.
Yeah, just something different. But I think when you're doing your live streams as well, I think after the stresses of setting all your gear up in the morning and things like that, and once you know that everything's stable and it's running all right, I suppose it becomes more of a social for you as well, because you've got that much interaction, haven't you?
We've got the best job in the world for aviation guys. We rock up, we get to put a show on, chat to the community. We're fortunate enough to have a great number of viewers, and then we go home, right? And that's our day at work done. And we're very sort of feet on the ground with that. We know we're fortunate to be doing what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And be lucky to be where we are. And yeah, it's just I think you can very easily kind of, the channel's all right now. It's big now. We'll just do the shows. That's that. It'll do its thing.
You can't sit back on it at all.
You got to be very careful with that, because the minute you start taking it for granted, you can probably quite quickly lose sight of either changes or maybe the community's not enjoying a certain thing, and you have to be switched on with it for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Because like I said, we also have a bit of an income from our videos that we upload. So like Facebook is a big one.
Yeah.
Because they just like YouTube, they run adverts on Facebook videos. So we have a bit of like a meta we stick to with that. But that's changed massively in the last year. Like the things you'd upload a year ago wouldn't even like get any views these days. You know, it's crazy how much it changes, and it's really toxic, because it could be like 1 month you could do really well, and at one point we were kind of relying on that to fund the channel quite a lot. But these days we've balanced it a lot between all the platforms. And it's so toxic. You've always got to be adapting and always just like being a bit brave with what you're trying and new things, because like Martin said, if you just sit back and go, oh, I'm happy with how it is, like I've got a nice life, which obviously we're very blessed to have, like, you know, roof over our house, our head, and, you know, a nice meal on the table. But if you just get too comfy, then 2-3 months time you could be really struggling.
And social media is so volatile in the way that it distributes content. And it's something which like say a lot of people say, oh, you only live 2 days a week, what are you doing for the other days of the week? And honestly, the amount of research and the amount of testing that me and Andy do, and Andy takes on a huge amount of that as well, is all just trying to keep up to date with the latest changes, because social media they want people engaged on the platform, and they're constantly adapting the way that their platforms work to try and optimize that. And as a creator, you've got to keep fitting into them different boxes. Every time something that worked last week doesn't work this week, because they've gone, oh, well, that didn't work to us, so we'll swap that. And we're like, well, hold on, we just made a load of content based on that. Now we've got to change it all. And there's so much work that goes in behind the scenes just to keep eyes on your content. It's unbelievable.
It's infuriating sometimes.
A huge amount of time.
Yeah. I think you must be getting something right to be able to, I mean, how long has it been now, Martin? 5 years or something you've been doing Manchester Airport. To be able to go to Manchester Airport twice a week, every week.
Yeah.
And still make it look fresh, and still
that's the thing, and I've never really got my head around that.
With the viewer,
is people the same people tune in every week, and they love the show every week, and sometimes I think, well, why is that? Is it the way me and Andy present? Is it they just love seeing the aircraft? Because obviously we're live at the same time, and that's partly why we switched over to Wednesday, because I thought, well, we'll see some different traffic and some different movements. But I guess it doesn't seem to matter what we do at Manchester, which is really cool, because it kind of leans towards, well, maybe it's the presenting style or the quality of the content, but yeah, it's not something we've totally got our head around, and I don't think we ever will really. But yeah, Manchester, we are cautious not to overdo it, which I think could be very easy to do. Like, we could have gone full time and just streamed every day of the week, and could have got boring not only for viewers but for us as well, right? Very quickly. I know the likes of LA Flights just put an absolute graft in. They stream for 12 hours a day. And fair play to them. They've done what we did in 5 years in 1 year.
Yeah, and apparently their commute to the airport is not small. Apparently as well.
It's about 2 hours each way. Apparently.
2 hours each way they go. Like, I've heard that from them themselves.
And they're absolutely smashing it. But that's not the way we want to do it at Manchester. We like to keep the shows fresh, keep them moving. And the minute where it gets to the point where it's starting to drop off a bit, wrap it and get people wanting more, because you want to leave people wanting to come back rather than getting bored and leaving, and then that's
Absolutely,
the last impression. Right?
Manchester Airport, you could properly drag it out. You could be like, "There's another EasyJet. There's another Ryanair."
Absolutely.
It's like, what's the point? Like, you know,
I think what you were doing though, Andy, where you're doing the early morning shows, and you, like you said, Martin, before as well, you were going to do the evening shows. I think the variety and just, I mean, I'm a massive fan of evening shows, no matter where it is. I know Speedbird TV do London City on a Friday, and I think it's Airshow World do East Midlands a lot during summer months. During summer, and I think just doing that just them couple of hours before it starts going dark, I think it's something magical about that.
It's definitely on the cards for that south side, 100%. We're really looking forward to that as well. So.
Yeah. Right now in Manchester, the evening, there's not a lot going on is a problem. It's just like narrow bodies. It's just like, you might see a 2E76, you might see a random chart of wide body. Yeah. But the thing about Manchester is our schedule of like 10 a.m. till about between 1 and 2 p.m. Yeah. You see all like everything you want to see. You see like the Emirates A380 moving. You'll see Qatar 777. You'll see many TUI Dreamliners, many Virgin 330s. Yeah. Whereas before that or after that, you're not really gonna see much. It's like
I think you've got to time it quite right, haven't you? What about the Qatar 380s coming back into Manchester? Is that going to happen?
No,
that's
not. I've heard there's not the capacity for it.
Right.
Which is weird because they fly like 2 or 3 times a day, don't they? At the moment, it's like, why don't you just fly one big flight? Like, what's the point of flying all these little planes?
Yeah, I mean that's what I've heard. I don't know if it's changed. I must admit, I've not heard anything about it for maybe a month or so. But that was the last thing that was said. I know in the summer we're expecting Singapore 380 to operate for a while. For some football related flights, which will be awesome. Really looking forward to it, because that's an iconic livery. That's going to
absolutely,
So we're looking forward to seeing that, and apparently it's an Atlas 7.4 going to be making an appearance at some point, which would be pretty sweet. Potentially ex-Virgin. I don't know if that was something. Owen mentioned something about that today, whether or not you got to the bottom of that or not.
Yeah, I think it could potentially be an ex-Virgin aircraft. So obviously it won't still be in the livery anymore, but it'd be nice to see it again, right?
Yeah, we got so lucky at Bournemouth that we've had 3 different 7.4s in this year. There's an ex-KLM one came in. The old Saudi Air, which used to belong to Aden, came in, and we had one of the ex-Virgin ones come in as well, and it's still got the red tail and red winglets on it, which is pretty sweet. Nice.
Yeah. Why were they? What's Bournemouth like? Is that would have been freighters, would it?
Yeah. Well, if you come to Bournemouth, you'll get 2 or 3 Ryanairs and a TUI a day.
Yeah.
And the Lauda.
Sorry, a Lauda on a Saturday. Which the whole town comes out for. But we've had 340. There's 340s there. There's 4 or 5 of them. They were doing China runs, but even though they packed up now, but 7.4s were coming in from CO quite regularly at the start of the year.
Nice. Yeah, it's getting few and far between seeing those now, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it was decent, but it was always raining when they came in. That was standard.
Yeah. For us, East Midlands is our local kind of cargo airport. It's about an hour, maybe an hour and a half at the most from where we are now. And problem with East Midlands is all the cargo traffic is in the late evening. So obviously the winter months, even spring and autumn, it's like you can't get any daylights during the busy time. Whereas in the summer we'll be making plenty more returns to East Mids. And obviously you get anything there, can't you? You get like many 7.4s, you get 7.65s, whatever's.
It says here that the Atlas 747-400s were V Roy and V Ross.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so bad. I think GV Ross wasn't that Forever Young. Don't know what GV Roy was. I remembered all these so well back in the day, but now
I'll put you right on spot now, haven't
you?
Frantically Googling.
I know. I had them all written down because I was tracking them as they were retiring, and trying to remember
we were pretty fortunate to cover all of the retirement flights, and that was definitely a memory of the channel. Just every single one of the Virgin 747s we streamed live retiring. Virgin Press Office loved it. They were sharing it with their staff, texting us, great show, everything. It was
they had it in their office,
stuff.
didn't they?
Yeah.
The Falcon was awesome, by the way. Do you remember the Falcon livery?
That was fantastic.
That's sadly retired out of Manchester as well.
Wonderful. Right, I got one more question from the chat, and then we'll start to sort of wrap the show up. Otherwise, we'll be here all evening. I've got work tomorrow. Michael K is asking, on a light-hearted note, what's the funniest thing you've ever filmed while live streaming?
Funniest. I would say the time I've laughed the most on a stream was East Midlands, when me and Andy went to East Midlands, and the rain, guys, honestly, you've never seen anything like it. It was the heaviest rain I think we've ever had on a live show, and kept streaming. And we just had such a laugh. I ended up trying to go to the car, and if any of you have spotted from East Midlands, you've got that big slope, haven't you, that goes down. And I went the whole way down on my back, the whole way down there. Andy's filming, he doesn't even notice. I'm planked out on the thing, smash me back on the hill. It's like calling for help. And, that was funny. And then the rain stopped, and there was a huge lightning storm that went. Like, we just got absolutely drenched, but we loved every second of it. And then to top it all off, the 747 that we were waiting to go out, they changed runway direction, so it actually took off towards us, which was what we wanted. And
lovely!
And it did that. It was just a mega stream. But we had such a laugh. Jen was in the. Jen come down with us. Was in the hotel room. She didn't come out. She was just watching the show from there, and she had a great time as well.
A few people in the chat have reminded us of a few ones. One, the jelly bean Russian roulette that we did. You're so glad you didn't partake in that, Martin. I think you were in work that day, right? I think so.
But I did have a go the following stream afterwards.
Yeah, and we have birthday streams, and we've kind of made it a thing because one of us did a big thing for our birthday, and we're like, we can't let one of us do it and then not the other one. Yours was during lockdown though, so it was like you did like a flight sim stream, and it was just dead silly banter. You actually had a GIF of me dancing on the screen that everyone seems to just laugh at, which was like the most ridiculous dancer. I was like flapping my arms around all over the place. So I said, for my birthday, I'll do something. And we got that. Has anyone ever played it? That I think it's called Bean Boozled or something.
Bean Boozled, yeah.
Bean Boozled. Yeah, oh my gosh, they're horrible. I was like, it's only a jelly bean. Like, if it's bad, you just swallow it or you just spit it out or something. But man, when you bite them, they explode in your mouth and get into all the crevices in your teeth and your gums and under your tongue and everything. It's just like this horrible taste of like either dog food or I can't remember what the other ones were.
Grass clippings and bogies. You got all sorts of
the worst one by far was the last one I did, and it was chili. Oh my gosh, it was so spicy and it was just like horrible.
But Welshie Kev in the chat, I just clocked on saying about the Tower Bridge stream was superb. So one of the other things through lockdown was we were doing the quizzes, but we also did a UK VFR tour.
Yeah.
So we basically took off in was it DA-42?
Diamond 42, it was, yeah.
Diamond 42 aircraft, and we flew the whole way around the coast of the UK, VFR. Wow. It lasted a few months, and we got to London, and we got a bit daft, and we decided to try and fly between the bits on Tower Bridge in MSFS, this is. So you're coming along and we're going down it, right, here we go, got it lined up, bosh, you hit it, and I was convinced I'd gone through the middle, and my thing just hit the bridge. I'm upside down, crying my eyes out, laughing. And Brown Bill's, he's flying along with me, right, and he's convinced that, you just hit the bridge, you must have hit. I was like, I did not hit the bridge, I swear. And he comes and he goes, here we go, wait, and he hits it and he flips up in the air and he lands on top of the bridge upside down, right? And it turns out in the sim they've got like this invisible wall between the two things. You can't fly between them. The chat absolutely love that. It's one of the probably most viewed clips.
That meme lasted for ages, didn't it? Absolutely ages.
Yeah.
I think we've tried something like that. I think the three of us, we've tried to fly through something and not realise there's an invisible wall. So we're all like, yes, we're going to make it, go through it. And all of a sudden you just hit this wall and just crumble out.
Too many times.
Funny. But inverted if you're really showing off.
Yeah.
There you go. And a challenge from Alison. If you ever get on the sim, try flying under the Gatwick Bridge.
All right.
Be an interesting one. I think we'll have to turn the sim on for that. Give that a good go.
That was hilarious.
Wonderful. Right. So it's amazing that we've now hit 2 hours and 10 minutes, but it's just literally gone by like that.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But it's been
mega voice.
Really, really fun show. But we're going to do some shout outs to kind of begin to wrap the show up. Then we're going to announce who we have on next week. I have a video prepared for that. And then we'll say our goodbyes. So anybody in the chat that wants to give anybody a shout out, we'll put them onto the screen as we do ours. And we're going to put Andy on the spot to do some shout outs to whoever he likes.
We get a shout out to Tony P in the chat, Tony Parkinson saying bing bong.
Yeah, Tony.
Tony, a lot of our regular viewers have made appearances
thanks to
tonight.
everyone who's tuned in today, guys.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button to support these guys. It's been a very entertaining show. I'm sure we'll be a guest on sometime in the future again. Tonight was actually our first ever podcast we've been on, believe it or not. We've been invited on a few other ones, and we actually used to obviously work full time and stuff, so it was just impossible to find the time when both me and Martin were free. So we don't do halves on Airliners Live, do we?
Lovely. We'll go on to Martin for your shout-outs.
Yeah, we've got my Mrs. Airliners Live putting up with me being out of the house 24/7. Thank you very much. It's in the chat. Kevin, I'll just shout out some regulars. We've got Kevin and Jenny and Yorkshire Rose, Tasker, Loopy, of course, who you guys had on the show, on the last show. Mr. John Fezzer, who looks after all flights and content. He's kind of the mastermind behind the scenes of Twitch. And all the channel regulars. I'm sorry, I'm sure I've missed quite a lot of you guys. But massive shout out to all of our mod team as well.
And Owen, by the way, in the chat, who works, he's got his first day in work tomorrow. I don't know why he's up so late, because isn't he in work at 4
you're in work at 4 a.m.
I know, he's still watching this. He's probably just committed to finishing it now. He's got his first day in work tomorrow, working at Liverpool Airport. So he's finally got a job in aviation. Yeah. So good on him. And he's like he's probably one of the most knowledgeable aviation people I know. Like, he knows everything about it.
Yeah, he does. He knows everything.
Yeah. So he'll do well. He'll run the place soon, I bet you.
Brilliant stuff. Right, Steve, over to you.
Yeah, well, first up, thank you to you two for coming on tonight. It's been absolutely brilliant.
Thanks,
big fan. No assuming I haven't woken up upside down in a hedge covered in kebab and beer from the night before. I'm always tuning in on a Sunday, so appreciate your good work on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the shows. It's a pleasure to be on the podcast as well, mate.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Everyone who's in on the chat tonight, we appreciate you being here, and obviously Tom and Ian, as always. It's always a pleasure to be part of it.
Strength to strength, I think, is probably the best way of putting it. It's getting there. It's getting there slowly, but it's getting there. Right, Ian, over to you.
Just a massive shout out to you, Martin, and to you, Andy, for tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic. It's been nice to have a right good chat to you both. I've been watching you since you first started with Charlie many moons ago, and it's nice to be able to have a chat, because when you're down on the airport or something, you sort of see you there, but you never get a chance to say anything or anything like that. Yeah. So that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Come over when you see us, mate.
Yeah.
I'll try and blag a t-shirt or something out of here. I'm from Preston, note for note.
Yeah. So you don't get anything you don't ask, mate.
That's right. Yeah.
The best thing is when we wrap up the show is the best time to approach us, because obviously when we're live, we're just multitasking and in the zone.
Yeah, we've always got time when the shows are done. If ever anyone
just sign your cap and throw it to us.
Listen, that's one thing we've said. We're not going to be signing no merchandise. We're not.
I want Andy's rare bands. I want him to sign all the side of his rare bands.
Primark special, then, I think.
I was going to wear them tonight, but I think that was overkill, to be honest.
It's a bit much, isn't it?
Yeah, no one's ever seen his face. I think it's like face reveal, isn't it?
Well, face reveal, eye reveal.
Excellent.
Yeah. So brilliant. Massive shout out to you two, to you Tom, and to you Steve as well, and to everybody who's been in chat tonight. There's been hundreds of comments, and I've been trying to read them, and just couldn't keep up, to be quite honest. So
done well, yeah.
Yeah, it's been really good.
I'm glad it's been a busy one for you boys.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
Can I just quickly shout out little Dakota as well, who's actually watching from the other room.
Oh yeah,
little 2-year-old who was with us today, just watching from the mound. And
big wave, everybody! Big wave!
Big
wave! Brilliant, wonderful. Right, just a couple shout outs that I'll give, and then we'll get on to who we've got next week. So, firstly, to echo what we've already said, shout out to you, obviously Martin and Andy, for dedicating some time for us this evening. Keep up the fantastic work that you do, whether it's regular shows and charity shows. A lot of people that I've seen in the comments that are probably regular viewers of yours say that you've probably got one of the best communities, if not the best, and you can kind of see that. So keep up the good work, and obviously I imagine you'll continue to grow as a channel anyway. So all the best for what you do, and of course you're welcome on at any point in the future.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Likewise to you guys as well. You're smashing it on the content at the minute, so keep it up, boys.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Steve, shout out to you and Ian for turning up.
You're welcome.
Doing a stellar job as always.
Well, I've done for every week for the last 12 months, Tom, so I've not done so bad.
No, you've done all right. And even if you don't, at least you tell us. But shout out to you for obviously contributing and doing such a fine job. Everybody that's watched this evening, and of course, if you're watching for the first time and you subscribed and you super chatted, thank you very much to everybody. Hopefully, we'll get to see your names in the chats in the future. Now, small little video for who we've got on next week, which is going to probably mean I'm going to have to change it to this. Get rid of my logo and that because it's going to get in the way. Here's who we have next week, and I'm dead excited for this. It's one of my favorites, and I'm super excited. You can already tell the name. Let's go for it. Do you know who this is? Obviously, you know who it is. It's just showing on the thing. But I'm trying to find the image now. There we go. Next week, we're joined by Rich Goodwin as he prepares for the airshow season. He'll be with us to talk about his particular routines, what it feels like, and pretty much everything to do with his love of aviation.
What a sound.
Just a small little bit like a play of a clip, just to kind of give you an idea for who Rich Goodwin is, if you don't know.
Yeah, you ain't getting me on that task.
Have you ever messed about with one of them on the flight sim?
Yeah, they're nuts, aren't they?
Horrible.
A nightmare they are, aren't they?
Oh, just a bit.
Whoever filmed that did a good job panning it though and tracking it.
Oh, yeah.
Kept it in frame
It's
the whole
very
time.
difficult because I filmed him. One of my first videos I made was actually Yeovilton 2018, and trying to keep up with him was quite tricky. So well done to whoever did that, and anybody that actually has a really good video of him. But so Rich Goodwin will join us next week for a chat, and as I say, he's preparing for the airshow season, which begins at the end of this month. So he'll be telling us all about that. Wonderful. All right, so no need to kind of give out sort of the handles and stuff, but if you two, I'm going to point down, Martin and Andy, if you'd like to kind of just give yourselves a little plug as to why people should follow you, etc., etc.
Yeah, any new viewers who may be learning about us today, check us out on YouTube. We're live from Manchester every Wednesday and Sunday 10 a.m. Vancouver Thursdays, and flight sims now on Mondays at 7 p.m. as well. And obviously check us out on Instagram. It's probably our most active platform, I'd say.
Yeah, we actually reply to messages on there and emails, of course.
Easily found, of course, as we run through our own social medias. We put them up on the screen for anybody that wants to follow us. Like I said at the beginning, we're on Twitter. We are on Facebook as well if you want to give us a like. If you want to see any old photos from years gone by, plus recent ones, I post them onto Instagram on the channel's page. Not only that, Steve has his own if you want to give Steve a follow. And Ian has one too.
I'll do that now. Give me a moment.
If you wish to give them a follow.
I'm also available on Tinder.
Oh, dear. I had a funny feeling you were about to say that. And
A free t-shirt every day.
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
Cheap plug stay.
I'll even wear it. Yeah.
Goodness me. Right. So we're going to say our goodbyes, but we're here next Sunday, 7:30 p.m. For the show with Rich Goodwin. So we are going to go in order of how we've just done shout outs. So Andy, if you'd like to say goodbye to those still watching.
See you guys soon.
Short, sharp, lovely job.
That's how we are. That's how we are in the RVP, trying to beat that flow of traffic going on. Right, see you later. Bye. Cheers.
Wonderful. Let's go. Ian next on this one.
Right, yeah, we'll see you all next week. And just a quick shout out to my daughter Tian, who sat at the other side of the room. She did comment a few times, but I didn't get a chance to read the comments out. So yeah, I'll give you a wave from Tian from here. So I'll see you all next week. Cheers, Martin. Cheers, guys.
Lovely. All right, Martin, if you'd like to say goodbye to those still watching.
Yeah, thanks for all the regulars tuning in, supporting the guys today. And again, thanks to you guys for having us on. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate it, mate.
No problem. We'll see you again, no doubt. Steve, in the most Steve way possible, if you'd like to, quote your T-shirt and say goodbye to those still watching.
Yeah, again, thanks for everyone who's joined us tonight. Really, really appreciate it. It's been a brilliant show. If you haven't heard this before, sit down and enjoy it. All right then, cheerio, my lovelies. Stay safe, stay sexy, and until next time, take care. All right, cheerio now.
Wonderful. See you next Sunday, 7:30 p.m. For another probably fantastic show. Have a fantastic week. Don't do anything I wouldn't, and we'll see you next week for another show. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.